Go on, Sassy Cam.
That's for me.
What is it? So go on, Sassy Cam. Go on that microphone.
And we are live. Welcome to another exciting edition of the RDBP, which I've shortened down because, as you can see, we also got Jojo in the house. This is another episode with your favorite time of RDBP because we are on episode 22. And tonight, we got a big show because we got in the house Kentucky Wrestling Federation's very own J.R. Rock.
What's up?
Wow!
And we got the man, the myth, the legend himself, the only one to have 0001 on his wrestling license, Dale Bass. And also, we got the one, the only, Calamity Jayne.
Yay.
And with her, we got Josie.
AKA Calamity Jr.
That's right. And also, we got Party Man Cam in here representing KWF, as he should.
Are you sure you don't want to just change this to the KWF show since we're on here so much?
I mean, it pretty much might as well be just
It might as
the
well be.
KWF show at this point.
Take it away, Jayne.
Man, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is going to be a great show. And if you're not well acquainted with Kentucky Wrestling Federation, by the end of this show, you will be. You will be. And I'm so honored. And if you follow me on Facebook at all, you'll understand that this is a huge deal for me, like personally, to be here with Dale, to be here with J.R. Rock and part of the Kentucky Wrestling Federation. Wow. Like the impact that you guys are going to make on Kentucky wrestling is just tantamount. And the I'm excited. I'll just break it down to that. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have my little girl here, a.k.a. Calamity Jr. So, thank you. Give me a fist bump. Give Mom a fist bump. All right, thank you. And we just appreciate having you guys out. And this is going to be such an important show because not only are we introducing you to the hottest Kentucky wrestling promotion that is live on the scene, but also a significant amount of Kentucky wrestling history. Like J.R. Rock, you were just recently, like not even a couple of months ago, inducted in the Kentucky Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Correct.
You were brought in, and then Dale, you've been involved with Kentucky wrestling from the jump. And when Johnny said
50 years.
50 years.
50
yesterday.
years. Nobody else, guys, nobody else in the state of Kentucky wrestling has the 0001 wrestling number. Like, he is, according to the state, Dale is the first. He is the first. He is the omnipotent. I don't want to say omnipotent. Above and beyond, and I know that we've probably touched on this on like past podcasts before, but like I really want to touch on like your personal contribution to wrestling, your personal contribution to local wrestling, and I just want both of you guys, I want Dale and I want J.R. Rock, both of you guys to go through, if there's somebody, if they've been living under a rock or a J.R. Rock, so to speak, that they can go through and just understand your contribution to what it means to be into Kentucky independent wrestling, and we want to know that. So
I'll go ahead and tell you right now, nobody's wrestling tree reaches farther in Kentucky than Dale Bass's. Not only has he touched every person in this state, he has national ties. I've seen pictures of Sherry Martell at his house, Jimmy Valiant at his house. You name it, they've been there. Abyss, as an 18-year-old kid in a locker room before he ever went national, Dale Bass has got pictures of that stuff. So his branches reach out all over the state. One of his first tag team partners was the man that trained me, Danny Fargo. So it goes from generation to generation from Dale.
yeah.
That's right.
And Dale, what do you want to add to that?
Well, kind of a rundown on my history. I was originally brought into the business by the original Masked Marvel out of Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was a boxer, and I was on the Fort Knox team, and I became a professional boxer. Through a different promoter, one promoter tossing me to another promoter, I was moved into the wrestling scene. And in my second year, I was lucky enough to actually be a tag team partner of Lou Thez in Jackson, Kentucky. And I still regard that as my highlight of my 50-year career, is just being able to say I had a tag team match with Lou Thez as my tag partner.
Yeah.
Are you sure your highlight wasn't getting squashed by Stan Stasiak in 5 seconds?
No.
It was 3 seconds.
Oh, 3 seconds.
Oh,
And
3 seconds. Oh, okay.
And it
Just to
was
clarify.
twice.
Wow.
That's in reference to my second and my third year. I was touring. It was like Thursdays being Indianapolis, Fridays being Columbus, Ohio. Indianapolis is for Dick the Bruiser's promotion. Saturday was being in Columbus, Ohio for Fred and Bull Curry. Saturdays was being up in Detroit, Michigan.
For the original
East
Chic.
Lansing for the original Chic. Come back to Kentucky and make my home base Georgetown at the convention center. Then on Monday I would go across into the Virginias and I'd work for Hoot Gibson. Tuesday and Wednesday was when I would take off and go down to Tennessee and work for the promoters down there. And sometimes on Wednesday I would be over in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Then be back on Thursday for Indianapolis. So I was just on a big long loop. And then after doing that for a year and a half and going through income taxes and finding out how much profit I made, I decided it was time for me just to stay in Kentucky because I wasn't earning anything. And wherever I was going, as you heard J.R. Rock say, I was able to, like Detroit, I was able to be on TV and go up there and jump out on TV and go after several big names like Stan Stasiak. You know, and I'd come running up as soon as the bell hits. I'd punch him 3 or 4 times, then he'd hit me one punch. Down I'd go, and he'd put his foot on my chest, and 1, 2, 3, and it was a 3-second match. And then it was several months later, I had the very same thing that happened. They said, go out and do it again. So I went out there and did it again, and 1, 2, 3, 3 seconds. So, you know, but I got to be up there with all sorts of people, Pampero Fairpro.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Kangaroos, or the original Kangaroos. I got to be up there with Bobo Brazil, and that was the TV we were doing from East Lansing, and then that night we would have Cobo Arena. And
I've got a question for you, Dale. How long had you been in the business when Randy Savage slapped you off the stage?
That's
what I
right.
want to know.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure it out.
that was before ICW. When Dale Mann was basically running Kentucky, every Sunday night was Georgetown. And he told me, we got some new people coming in. So, okay. I took a look at the new people, and it was Hustler Rip Rogers.
Great guy.
Leapin' Lanny,
Oh my God.
Randy Savage, the Miser. He was dressed as the Miser, and I already knew who he was anyway. And there was a couple other people that came along. And at that time, Danny Fargo was not part of the promotion. He had left, and people were always squawking about, Danny Fargo's the greatest. And, well, Randy started getting out there on the Sunday night shows and, challenging Danny Fargo to show up. Then the following week, he'd get out there again and say, like, where's Danny Fargo? He's a coward. He's got a yellow streak, And so finally, Danny said, Haas, he said that he was going to come back and he was going to wrestle Randy on that. And we had a packed house, probably had 600 people or so show on up. So it was the main event. So after the second match, I went out and I had the mic, and Danny came on up to it, and we were just chatting with the mic, and he always had a thing about trying to make me laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the mic, and he kind of turns his back to the fans and looks at me in the eye, and he gives me this Google eye look. He does, and it made me crack a smile and laugh. Well, he was my first tag team partner. I was his first tag team partner. First time he ever did anything, he refereed a match I wrestled in, and this was through a promoter. Come on, trying to think of his name. I'm pulling up a blank. but he was out of Ashland, Kentucky. He was one of the original Scuffle and Hillbillies, and he was a promoter. So that's how I bumped into Danny Fargo. But
Nice.
Fargo got up in front of me, and he did that thing and made me chuckle on mic. You know, and he quickly turned around and was facing the crowd, and, you know, there I am with a big smile and chuckling, and we finished our interview and went in the back. Well, he versus Randy Savage is still the main event later on that night. So after the fourth match, it's time to go back up and do the interview again, this time with Randy Savage. So I get up there with a mic, and I'm holding it, and blah, 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 blah. And, and I forgot. Danny Fargo also said, you know, like, when I hit Savage with one of these, you know, that'll be the end of
One of
Savage.
these. One of those.
When I hit him with one of these. And, you know, so that made me chuckle all the more. Well, when I got up there with Randy Savage, you know, Randy was just carrying on like usual, and I hit the mic, and I said, is there anything you want to say, Randy? And then he immediately kind of got down in there, and he says, you laughed. You thought it was funny.
Oh, no.
You know.
Send for the man.
Being in your position, you shouldn't have a opinion about anything. You shouldn't be showing prejudice. Blah, 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 blah. And what is this thing about the fist? You know, like, he ain't gonna hit me. And you smiled. You laughed when he said that. And then I said, well, Randy, I've known him for years. I was his first tag partner. He was my first. You know, he's a friend of mine. Oh, you're not supposed to have any friend. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and I'm sitting there holding the mic, looking at him like, duh. And next thing I know is, whoa, this big SWAT comes out of nowhere, you know, and I'm holding the mic, and I just go, I drop the mic, it goes straight to the floor, and I go backpedaling. I didn't go down. He hit me, not to drive me down, he hit me to knock me out of the way. So he hit me, and I backpedaled probably about 15 feet before I hit this blue curtain that was behind our back. And when you go through that blue curtain, it's like a 4-foot drop. So I went sailing through there, you know, just like, you know, and the crowd's all watching. And I go through the curtain, and I land right in the arms of Danny Fargo and Dale Mann, who were right there at the curtain looking through. And I came right through the spot where they were standing at, you know, and Dale Mann, the promoter, said, you going to get back up there? I go, no, nope, I'm not going to go back up there. No. So Randy Savage picked up the mic, and he finished his thing, and we went on our way. And that night, the finish between Randy Savage and Danny Fargo was a double count out, where they were outside the ring, and they just pretty well went through the whole building, big fight, and we continued drawing off of that for probably about a month.
Hell yeah.
So I just have to ask, like, Dale, did this like predate the whole Macho Man Randy Savage like calling out Jerry the King Lawler on like public television or like public circuit television? So like he basically called you out. You could say that. I mean, he called you out first.
This happened before everybody got to see Randy on TV here in Kentucky, because he started with Dale Mann along with his family and Rip Rogers and you know, all of them were there. This was ICW and Kentucky Championship Wrestling in Georgetown, and they merged with Dale, and Dale continued doing his shows throughout Kentucky, going to the National Guard Armories in London and E-Town and Danville, and right along with him was the new crew, which was the Poffos and all like that.
Yeah.
What the Poffos were doing, which we all understand. They were learning the towns, learning the National Guard armories, seeing how Dale ran things, and then they went off and got their own license and got their own bond, and then they came to E-Town and London and Danville, and they started running shows right there in the same spots Dale Mann was. Well, Dale Mann then stopped because ICW was taken over, and Dale Mann was supplying wrestlers to be on the ICW shows, and what ICW was doing, they pretty well would take Dale Mann's people, put him in there with an ICW guy, and the ICW guy would just squash him. And no matter who we put over there, they were getting squashed. So finally, Dale Mann pulled all of his people out. ICW is now on TV, and you know, we had the big thing going on with ICW not being able to be down at Rupp Arena and several other buildings because the circuit that Jerry Lawler and Jarrett and all them were on, they had deals made with these buildings like you cannot rent to anybody else other than us. So they were like going. Randy showed up down at Rupp Arena, and I think I got the names right. Randy and Bill Dundee, and Randy popped Bill Dundee. No, it was Lawler. Randy was the one that broke Jerry Lawler's jaw. And Jerry Lawler was pushing that he broke it playing football. And somebody got Bill Dundee, and our wrestlers were showing up at the locations of these other promotions. So as a wrestler was heading toward there, ICW was there with our cameras videotaping the ICW people confronting Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Jimmy Valiant, all these other guys. And you probably heard about the super show that they had where they finally got in the Rupp Arena.
Nobody heard about that super show. It was so long ago. You have to tell us.
Yeah.
It's ICW. It was like the big ICW show. Got in the Rupp Arena, and they had like Randy Savage challenges Jerry the King Lawler. Randy Savage puts up $10,000, and he says all Jerry Lawler has to do is put up an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
You remember that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rip Rogers had a challenge out to somebody where he was putting up $10,000 against a turkey or something stupid. But they were saying, we put out these challenges. They're here issued. You show up, you defeat our guy, you will get $10,000. All you have to do is bring with you an ice cream cone or something, a hot dog. And
that's a hell of a way to promote a show.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it was in print. It was half a page of Lexington Herald Leader. And I still got the page at home, and it showed all of the ICW guys were challenging all the guys from the other circuit. They were all being challenged. Bill Dundee and Jimmy Valiant and all the guys were being challenged to show up, and $10,000 if you can defeat this ICW wrestler. But then they still had their own individual card too, where Randy went against his brother Lanny and all this other stuff.
Do you feel like the Poffos were, in your opinion, because I've talked to other people that have worked with Angelo, Brandy, Lanny, do you feel like they were difficult to work with, or do you feel like they were just really aggressive in like how they kind of helped conquer
they were
this specific area, like where they were they had an aggressive
they
promotion
felt like
style.
Kentucky was their area.
I don't think Lanny was as aggressive as Randy and Angelo.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, Randy was possessive and.
All right, folks. So if you like that story Dale just told, don't forget to get my book, Locker Room Stories. There's 99 more stories just like that. You can get them at the merchandise table at any of the shows I'm at, and you can get it on Amazon at my Amazon store.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And that's a hell of a book, too. I've actually given it a glance when Joe had it. Man, y'all got tons of stories that they should be going and checking out.
Great reviews. Bobby Blade loves it. He said he was rolling, crying, laughing. The stories are so funny. One of the fans that comes to the show named Nancy said she couldn't take it to bed with her because
Nancy Roberts.
She wanted to stay up and read it all night long.
That's Mrs. Stan Sierra, in case anybody
That's
wants
right.
to know.
And just so y'all know, Stan's woman is just his mistress. Nancy is the wife.
But Dan, I've got that on my list.
I've got more copies on the way.
buy.
I'll have it at the merchandise
Good
tables
deal.
soon.
Well,
Hell yeah.
I do more than just Kentucky Wrestling Federation. I'm on the fair tour season for Jimmy Walls and Terry England for
Good people.
USWF and UCW. So I go to all these shows. I announce and run them all for them and like that. And you mentioned Stan Sierra, Nancy. Nancy is at every show.
Yeah.
It don't matter where we go. If Stan is on that show, so isn't Nancy and her group.
That's not true. That's not true. Nope, that is not true, Dale.
Well,
Nancy came to the KWF block party and didn't go to the show down the road that Stan was on. She came to see KWF that day. You are
Scandalous.
wrong.
That's scandalous.
Scandalous.
Oh. She didn't go to see her husband.
But yeah, she shows up at every one of these Stan's shows, and she's out there just to carrying on. And
She said it was a hard decision, but I told her she made the correct one.
It's true. She did, because KWF is the place to be.
Well, in the future, she'll be coming to KWF to see Stan, because Stan is part of our roster.
Stan will be on the first night of our heavyweight title tournament. Stan Sierra will be one of the competitors in that tournament.
Hey, Caitlin.
But in the meantime, NiceGuyAndy podcast wants to report that Nancy is effectively, the Mrs. Sierra, is effectively cheating on Stan Sierra.
Yeah, that's true.
And she can't help it. Like, if the wrestling is that good, you have to do what you have to do, right?
That's right.
You have to do what you have to do. So,
and someone wants to know
God bless her, Nancy,
what the name of your book is again.
Locker Room Stories. 100
That's right.
Wild Tales.
That's right, Candy Lynn Brown Foley. It is Locker Room Stories.
He sold out of the book so quick. I didn't even get a chance to get one myself.
Me neither.
I thought, his first time he'll order about 40 books. Now he ordered 5.
Yeah.
Snap, they're gone. And
He's like,
and I even said to him tonight, do you have one at home that you could bring, that you could at least show up and say, I got more ordered?
It's supply and demand, Dale. You just come to the show with 5 books. Like,
Yeah.
We've only got 5 left.
Yeah.
You better get one before they're gone.
5 books is a marketing strategy. He's going to be like, yeah, I've only got 5. You're going to have to go and order off my Amazon. Come on.
I would prefer they get them directly from me.
Yeah, that's
instead
true.
of post to Amazon.
And when you get them directly from J.R. Rock, you
get
getting
the autograph.
autograph from the author. And then when you open it up, I think you have a page in there that lists the names of all the other people that have had stories.
Yep, everybody that contributed stories has a page in the back. You can get everybody's autograph.
That's right.
That's cool.
Yep.
Kenny Cummings loves his copy of it.
Good.
Shout out to Kenny.
What's up, Kenny?
That's right, Kenny C, the man.
So I know everybody's tuning in tonight to see one thing. They want to see the ladies' title belt unveiled.
That's what we've been waiting on seeing.
Let's go ahead and break this bad boy out. I know everybody's ready to see it.
That's right. Woo! What you're about to see is the first time that you're going to be seeing the KWF Women's Championship unveiled tonight.
And that's going to be in a tournament.
Oh, man.
Look at how pretty that baby is.
Look at how beautiful this thing is.
Oh.
Show it to the camera right there, yeah, Rock.
Gosh.
That is amazing.
That's a pretty
That
belt.
right there
That
is beautiful.
is pretty.
All the scroll work. So over here we have the KWF Heavyweight Championship belt, which I feel weird about even touching. But then in front of it you have the women's belt, which has all this lovely
Look how beautiful that
silver
looks.
and black scroll work. Like this is a work of art. I've not seen a.
And look at it.
Don't let me
Look
touch
at
it.
that.
I'll want it.
Just amazing.
Look how good
will
that
want
looks
it.
on camera. That is a beautiful championship.
Don't hand
There
me
is
this.
no ladies' belt like this. as
No,
far as
not
I-
at
That's
all.
right.
This is awesome. It has like a Rosie the Riveter-esque blonde,
modern-day
beautiful
version.
woman that is right here on the KW, and it has the KWF logo,
This is in color.
and it's got Commonwealth of Kentucky. It has an entire plate dedicated to Commonwealth of Kentucky, the Bourbon Trail. Then you have the Unbridled
That is a
Spirit.
beautiful looking
All
championship.
of the side plates on the heavyweight, the women's, and the tag belt are matching. They all have the same side plates with their own individual main plates.
And then the Wildcat UK belt, obviously, because we're UK proud. Here
That's
in
right.
Kentucky.
Now, our ladies division, as you can see on there, says Bombshells Champion. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that's Killzone, that's Kentucky's own wrestling. But if you know your history, Rosie the Riveter is from the World War era. So Bombshells is a fitting name to go along with the theme of the belt.
That's right. Nobody in the state of Kentucky right now has a championship as beautiful as that one.
That's
And I'm just
fantastic.
stating facts.
So we're going to have one show. We crown the champion, all ladies show, all ladies matches. We're going to have Maria James. We're going to have Big Mama. We're going to have Miss Larkin. We're going to have
man.
Tegan Thorne. We're going to have Lexi Green. We're going to have all the top lady stars from across the state.
Heck yeah.
Outstanding.
And I understand there's some ladies up in Indiana, which I don't even
Woo!
know their names, but there's a bunch of them up in Indiana that also want to come down into Kentucky and take part in this.
That's right.
And JR is the booker. He is the one that
Tell
knows who's coming.
them to come on. If you are up in the Indiana area and you are a strapping young lady that is interested in this absolutely gorgeous
Oh,
gorgeous
look,
belt.
we actually got Drew Dillinger tuned in.
Oh man,
what's
shout out
up,
to Drew. Shout out to Drew Dillinger. Love shit out of Drew.
Yeah.
But if you're a gorgeous young lady that is a talented wrestler and you're in the Indiana area, Northern Kentucky area, by all means come for this belt because it's worth it.
That's right.
1,000% worth it, man.
I mean, look at that beautiful belt right there. We can see it on our screen, right?
We can even see it from
That
here.
is
like,
gorgeous.
That doesn't do. That really doesn't do it
Yes.
justice. What do you think, Josie? I want to ask a younger generation, like Josie. This is Calamity Junior, by the way. Josie, what do you think of the Kentucky Wrestling Federation women's belt?
Well, I mean, it's really pretty. That's just my answer. It's just really pretty.
It's just really pretty, folks.
It's so pretty.
It's just really pretty, folks.
About half her weight.
It weighs about half as what Calamity Jojo weighs, Calamity Junior. But yeah, it is that's the quote. It's just a pretty belt.
That's right.
It's just so pretty. I mean,
It's just so pretty.
In my
Just
humble
so pretty.
opinion,
that's yeah.
in my humble opinion, that is the belt that they're going to be wanting to get. I mean, think about it. All these ladies that are right now put on those. You're showing it off right there. If y'all want in on this tournament, y'all better be seeking out this man right now, J.R. Rock. Because J.R. Rock is the man that will decide who is going to be going for that beauty right there on the table.
That's right. If you're interested in competing in the tournament for the Ladies Championship, reach out to me on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know Maria's got my contact information. Big Mama's got my contact information. I'm going to say projecting probably January-ish of next year is when we're going to do the ladies title.
Hell
tournament,
yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Because
Something.
first comes the men's.
Yes, our first 3 big-time shows that we're putting on in Frankfurt at Thornhill will be the heavyweight title tournament, show 1, 2, and 3. It'll be one half of the bracket, then the final part of the bracket.
Nice. And that's a good thing to do because you're showcasing off first the men's, and then you're going to be showcasing off all of the ladies.
Yes.
And that belt right there is going to be finding its owner as soon as that happens.
Yes.
And we don't know who's going to be the owner. Y'all got to get inside this tournament, I'm telling you.
The first show, you're going to have like 8 men on the first show that are part of the tournament where there's going to be 4 winners.
I can tell Dale's not listening to what I said.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
in the second
You
show,
can tell.
you're going to come out with 4 more. So on the third show, all 8 of your winners are going to be clashing on that third show going for
And that ain't bad either because y'all are showcasing the tournament winners, and now they got to decide
Yes.
who's going to be 2. Ooh,
I mean,
I'm already excited.
The tournament starts on September 7th. That will be the first show of the tournament. But before then, we also have a couple more shows coming up, some big shows. August 1st in Frankfurt at the Capital City Museum, we have a show for the Miss Elizabeth Museum exhibit.
Yes.
The museum is open till 4. Then we'll have a show from 6 to 8. Then at 9 o'clock after our show, they'll be doing a drive-in style showing of Miss Elizabeth's career highlights on the big screen in the parking lot.
Much deserved.
And that's something that you guys are not going to want to miss that. And I don't know that a lot of, some of us diehard like wrestling fans are familiar with the fact that Miss Elizabeth was from here, but growing up, and I know understanding and being like my daughter's age, being 7, and seeing Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage like interact on screen, and of course Sherry Martel, who ended up being like a very personal inspiration for me, seeing them involved on screen, but also not recognizing that was a Kentucky girl behind that. It was a Kentucky girl that basically inspired one of the greatest on-screen love stories that people could connect with in wrestling history, because to this day people bring up Miss Elizabeth. They bring up, Macho Man Randy Savage, that whole back and forth and that push and that pull, and of course when she came out and she confessed her love for him, like,
yes,
man, like that was intense. And to know that she is interred in at the I guess it's the Frankfurt
Cemetery.
that's up there,
It's
and
right up the street from the museum.
It is right up the street. So if you are a wrestling fan and you're not planning on coming to see this, like, please come and see this. They have several of her very important sequin dresses that are going to be on display. You can come and check them out at the museum.
That's right.
And then you can also come to the cemetery, which is just a short jaunt up the street, basically, and pay your respects to probably one of the greatest. And I hesitate to use the word valet because, like I said, I have conflictions about valet and manager back and forth. But she was not a wrestler, so technically she was a valet.
Plus,
but one
she
of the
wore
greatest, and she was one of the most influential, I think, valets of all time because she was just so genuine and sweet, and she wasn't. It wasn't that she was about being overtly like, sexy. It wasn't about being the most beautiful. It was that she was sweet and she was genuine. And I think that's what really touched a lot of people's hearts when it came to Miss Elizabeth.
And you mentioned the love story also. You can't mention that without also mentioning when Macho Man was a heel and he was basically being possessive of Miss Elizabeth, where he was pushing her away and all that, and when he had the
wandering eyes.
Yes. And then the fact that Macho Man was supposed to be the heel inside that, but Hulk Hogan was the one doing the whole healing thing by going after Macho Man's girl.
Yes.
Man.
So this show starts at 6 p.m. It'll be 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a 2-hour show, 325 Ann Street. Now, I know everybody's saying, how much are the tickets for a show like this going to cost? I'll tell you right now. This show is free to the public. The museum has paid and bought this show, so they've covered the tab for everybody.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
And I want to give a shout-out to my man, Sassy Man Cam over here. He's the one that hooked me up with the museum. They got the ball rolling on this whole
Hell
deal.
Yeah. You did a great thing, brother.
Thank you. It's my honor to do that.
And plus, you're wearing that snazzy KWF shirt. Why don't you stand up and show the people?
Bust the vest open.
Show off that.
Give the ladies what they want.
Show off that KWF merch.
Also, get at the merch table.
Now,
Hell yeah.
in the tradition of Miss Elizabeth, I'm going to have multiple lady managers on this show. You'll see the Dahlia there managing.
Hell
You'll also
yeah.
see Rosalina Brake at ringside managing. So we'll have some female managers on the show because it is a Miss Elizabeth show. So, I mean, how could you not?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
You have some lady wrestlers coming in for this too, right?
Oh man.
Potentially, yes, but we're going to keep that hush-hush till now.
Yeah, you got to keep the hush-hush because...
JR is the booker, and he's still working on the card.
That's
He's
right.
gonna present the best card he can every time.
And also remember, card is always subject to change because you never
That's
know
correct.
who you might get on
It
there.
changes every day.
That's right. And you never know because you are the booker and you only book the best.
Yeah, that's why I booked myself.
I put the belt on
Well, that
myself and I booked myself.
Well, that explains how you got involved with the last show.
Yeah, well, now I want to give a shout out to the Nice Guy Andy podcast. Andy, I hope you're at home watching. You better be. Andy hooked us up with the local Teamsters Union here in Lexington. We have a bought private event show for them on
Nice.
Labor Day. So that's going to be off the chain. Too bad the public can't come, but, they wanted private, so we're giving them private. So thank you, Nice Guy Andy podcast. Thank you, Andy.
That's right.
Thank you.
He did good. I remember he called me about that too.
And he had options. He could have called anybody. He knows. He goes to all these shows. He knows all the promoters. I'm very thankful that you all reached out to us and considered us for it. Thank you.
You were
very
my
much.
first. You were my first thought actually because everyone else has their thing. KWF is just now starting out. KWF deserves a lot of
I
attention right
appreciate
now.
that. Thank you.
That's one of the reasons why when y'all first announced that y'all were starting up KWF, I was like, we need to get them on here because they need all the eyes on them.
Hey, KWF made a splash at the Western Kentucky State Fair a few weeks ago.
Hey,
Probably
yes, we did.
500 or 600 people there. Party Man Cam was in action. We had Calamity doing the music and the commentary.
Hell
And
yeah.
I even made an appearance in the ring because we had some cancellations and had to fill some slots.
Hey, that's right.
And I did a great job saying, "Go, Randall, go," as I stood on the ring apron and watched him do his stuff.
Hell yeah. What's up, DJ Easy? Eric Montgomery, he's here. He said, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
As you can see, Eric, on the table,
Oh, hang
that.
on. Hang on before he gets upset. Thank you, Terry England, for having us down.
Yes. Oh, we almost forgot to put him over. Hey, Terry England, thank you very much, man. We appreciate you.
Number one rule of a Nice Guy Andy podcast: always put Terry England over all the time.
Otherwise, he'll find a way to break her kneecaps.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, all
He
these,
will.
Wrestling Hall of Fame, Terry.
He absolutely.
That's right.
all these KWF belts I designed with the help and ideas from my wife and my daughter Luna. They help a lot on this ladies championship belt. So thank you, girls.
Shout out to Luna and Jennifer.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys. We appreciate y'all, and being a lady, man, being a wife or being a spouse behind the scenes, that's really kind of like an unsung hero of like
Yep.
the wrestling community. Like, can I just say that? Like, that's, man, it takes a lot of gut. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts and gumption to be behind the scenes and be
That's right.
hard, like a strong woman, a strong daughter behind the scenes.
Well, there's something else that you need to bring up. You showed up to the very first training session for Kentucky Wrestling Federation.
That's right.
I did, and I wasn't gonna bring that up. I was gonna be all secretive and sneaky about it.
You
but
went on Facebook, and I even saw on Facebook you were mentioning there, and I think you said
so not that sneaky.
you threw up 3 times.
I did.
And
It was only 3 times. It wasn't a huge deal.
Hey, don't feel bad. You're not the only person I made throw up during their training.
also,
Really?
Yeah.
she didn't realize that she was working with a 4-time state champion in B Money. She just thought that B Money was just some guy.
Yeah,
Till
we
I
had-
told her.
we had
I
a-
was like, I'm gonna toss him around the ring like he's just ramen noodles, and that didn't happen because
She was
he
tossing her
kind of,
noodles.
yeah, I was tossing my noodles a lot, and like, so we get into it. It was so. I just want to talk about it for a second because it was so cool, and it was so much fun. Like I've been in the ring before, okay, but it was like a backyard. It was 2 backyard matches, little to zero training ever, and the second match that I'm working in somebody's backyard, the police show up, so it's just like whoop whoop, and everybody gets the hell out of there. This is like backwards, like it wasn't Logan County, it was like Muhlenberg or Todd or whatever, and people show up and get ran off, and then it wasn't too long after that that I found out that I have this like weird eye condition, and like I probably need to keep an eye on it, but probably don't do anything too physical, and I was like, hate that.
Yeah.
And then the further I get on my life, everybody's like, you know, I went through a really bad divorce, and everybody's like, you know what, you should get back into acting, because I did a lot of stage stuff years ago. Like I did tons and tons of stage stuff. Like I was Truvy in Steel Magnolias. I was the title character in The Lottery. I was in, gosh, like I can't even name it. Like I was Midsummer Night's Dream. I was Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream, like throughout high school. So many different productions that I had a hand in. And everybody's like, you should get back into acting. And I was like, acting is not exciting enough for me, for what I want to do and for what I'm interested in. And I had just gotten back into watching wrestling because, as some of you may sympathize with, if you don't have a partner that understands wrestling or is into wrestling, it's abysmal. It is.
Yeah.
It's awful because, like, you're over here trying to explain the Montreal screw job to somebody, and they're oblivious, and they're like, "Do you want cheese sticks or not?" And that was my life up until that point. And I was like, you know what? I don't care if it makes me weird. I don't care if it makes me an outcast. I'm going to get back into wrestling. And that was my goal, and that was my joy at that point, is that I had started writing for Pro Wrestling World. Shout out to Pro Wrestling World.
Which is not the Pro Wrestling World. It is Pro Wrestling World.
Not, because the ones that have the in front of it like to hide behind their little screen names and paste rage bait for everybody to react to, because that's what's popular in professional wrestling reporting right now.
Exactly.
And we don't get down with that at Pro Wrestling World. So if you're tired of having doctored, angry, rage bait type discussions, maybe come over to Pro Wrestling World /MMA News, because we do cover MMA news. And then I show up, and I told myself, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to get back into wrestling. Not only just do it, I've done the managing part of it. I've done the writing part of it, behind the scenes. Writing is probably my favorite part of it, because I'm very, very involved in the storylines. Anytime that we cover anything PLE related here, very, very involved with that. And I think that good writing really, even if it's a one-off match, it can make or break a good match.
That's true.
And, you know, even sometimes I feel like that's kind of cast off, but I wanted to show up, and I wanted to, because essentially I'm the NiceGuyAndy Women's Champion right now. And I joke and I say that I'm the champion of running my mouth, but in future months I will entirely be open to having any contenders for that. Maybe I'm being a little too tough. Whatever. Please come take that belt off of me. I challenge you. And I would entertain that challenge 1,000% for someone to come and take that belt off of me. I might have got it by running my mouth, but I will entirely support and defend that. And I look forward to that. But aside from that, I wanted to get back and get professionally trained, because you don't want to just get in the ring with somebody that doesn't know their Josie earmuffs.
You had like 3 or 4 different people there that were also trainers right along with JR.
Oh, man. And I did, and I really did. And I just want to say that, like, they didn't know the not the trainers, but people that I've been involved with that didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
I know all those guys down there. None of us know that.
Yeah, and no, you guys are fantastic. There was never a moment where I second guessed, and as soon as I got in there, I was like, "This is exactly where I need to be." You're good. You're good on the earmuffs, and I felt complete, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna give this hell. I didn't have the right shoes, but I got in there and I worked myself until I felt like I was gonna throw up.
Hey, you're not alone.
That's what I needed, but I did not ever want to get in a ring with anybody else. And I'm pulling the DDP card, okay? You know, I'm 39.
Yep.
A lot of people will be like, well, you know, maybe don't do that.
Maria James and Ronnie Roberts both started, and they were their mid-late 30s as well.
Man, then that gives me a huge inspiration, because I looked up to both of them so incredibly much. And to get back in there and be like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this the right way. I never want to get in the ring or even outside of the ring untrained again, even if it's just in a manager capacity, even if it's just in a lightweight capacity, even if it's a joke character, gimmick character. I don't want to get in there again ever as somebody that's not trained, that doesn't know the safety behind it, that doesn't know how to put a ring together. That was so effing cool. So, like, if that's something that you're interested in, please reach out to us, because we'll get you in the right spot. But like the training, all the behind the scenes training, learning how to put the ring together, learning how to take your bumps, learning how to run the ropes. I probably still have a lot of ways to go, but I am so thankful for that and that experience, and the fact that I got to have that experience, and to be part of like the kind of like the beginnings of Kentucky Wrestling Federation means a lot to me. and then to go and work with Terry and go and do. I'd never done sound, and initially I just thought I was like, okay, well, yeah, I can put people's theme music on. That's not a big deal. I get there and Terry's like, "Do you want to do some announcing too?"
There's a
Nice.
little
I
trick
was like,
to all of this.
man.
This all has to work together.
Yes.
It's just a little trick to it all.
And it was, he was like, "Do you want to do some announcing?" And then we got down to the end, and I realized, I was like, "Wait a minute!" I was like, "Do we have the flag out? Is the flag out here? Do we need to do the flag?" And the flag was up on the stage because they've been having like state fair stuff. We pull it forward to the front, and we go backstage. And I tell Terry, I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna try to pull the national anthem up. If we can't, I will put myself out there, and we will do this."
Hell yeah.
And I was kind of wishing, I was like, I kind of hope it doesn't really download before we do this, because I kind of want to sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
That was like on my bucket list, and I totally did. Like, that's full blown selfish. I don't care. I might have had my own feelings about like me wanting personally to do that, and I was like, doggone it, darn it, we can't get it downloaded, but I know somebody, I know a gal that will do the national anthem at the drop of a hat, and I did it, and that was so much fun for me, because I think I even surprised Terry. I think Terry was like, "Oh my God, oh my goodness."
That's what I'm talking about.
He was not expecting that, and I did. So I'm just throwing myself out. Even if I don't get hired as a wrestler or a manager, I will come out and I will do your national anthem for your sporting event for the low fee of $1,000 arenas.
Don't you mean one hot dog and a handshake?
Actually, that's what it translates into. Roughly, in wrestling terms, it translates into a hot dog and a handshake. So,
But also, you're not alone with the bombing, because when me and Andy went to go train for our match last year, June 5th was the match that we were going to have in Salina, Tennessee. The week before that, the Thursday, we went up to Adrian Alexander's, where he has his ring up there. We got to train. We were choreographing everything. And I made a mistake of accepting water, because nobody told me that when you drink water, after you've been training so hard, it's going to cause dry heaving. So so after I got done training, I had already had 2 bottles of water that I was drunk. And I start feeling fun. I was like, the hell is going on for me? So before I could puke in front of him, when I walked over to the entranceway and I puked over off to the side where nobody could see, and he tried to film me at the time, I was like, I should have known not to drink the water.
brother,
Why
I'm
did Adrian-
vulnerable. Please,
Yeah.
please don't film me right now, or I'm throwing up.
He just want content.
I was there, and I just turn around and I just see you doing that. I'm like, oh my God, what was that?
That'll be good footage in the documentary.
That's true. But also, as you can see on the screen, setting up a ring is harder than what people think.
Oh yeah,
Like, they take that as a trampoline. I don't see no trampoline there.
there ain't no damn trampoline, brother. It's planks and a very thin, minuscule level of padding. That's it. It's not like there's like some kind of like jump. They think they're going to the jump zone. Like there's nothing to that.
What they don't understand is that the bounce that they feel is that
That's the impact bouncing
exactly,
back up.
exactly.
Yeah, most people think the rings are soft and it's just a nice landing.
Oh, it's
That's
not.
not the case.
No, it's
Wait
not.
till somebody picks you up like 6 feet up, 7 feet up, and then they slam you.
Yeah.
And you have to have learned ahead of time when you're getting slammed how to position yourself to absorb
Exactly.
the slam.
And how not to take this right here and do it back there when you're being slammed, because as soon as you do that,
Knock your brain
your
down.
neck gets in, you're going to get broken over, your head's going to get
And if
knocked
anything,
out.
I've learned that 5 times in some of my matches.
Yeah, because that's very important. You got to learn how to tuck your neck and when not to tuck your neck.
Well, Calamity, do you plan on coming back for more training sessions? when they happen?
Absolutely.
And
And
Jay-
it's because I'm dumb and I don't mind getting knocked and dragged around the ring, and I bruise like a peach, but I like absolutely, I went to a water park and people were like, "Oh my God, are you all right? Are you okay? Do we need to call somebody? Are you okay?" And I was like, "It's okay. I just wrestle. It's fine. It's fine. I just wrestle. I'm okay. Please don't call CPS or whoever. Like, don't call anybody. I'm okay. And I'm sorry I made you worried. But yes, I 1,000%. Shit, yeah.
So JR,
I even bought new shoes.
As the booker for Kentucky Wrestling Federation, and she wants to defend this belt sometime, and she's in training, so that means sooner or later, if you wished, you could put her on a KWF show defending her belt.
And maybe that could become a...
If she could make it through my training, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe it could become a mid-card title that the women could go after.
Oh, I'm going to make it through your training.
Well, I've talked to Andy the other day. I was pitching around the idea about his girls' podcast titles. So we were kind of discussing making KWF a home for them.
Nice.
Having your men's title and your ladies' title be whoever has those is the number one contenders for our heavyweight and our ladies' belt.
Hey, that sounds badass, like how the IC title was for...
Yes, for the number one contender traditionally for the heavyweight title. So if you can win the podcast titles, that means you get a title shot at one of these belts down the line.
And you know what? Since Marty Clay is the current champion, maybe one day he'll go after the tournament people.
Marty Clay
He's in the
is
tournament.
He's already inside the tournament? Oh.
Marty Clay is in the heavyweight tournament.
So he's got the title and he's going after the main title.
We got Stan Sierra in there. We got a bunch of name guys.
We have 16 of the top wrestlers in the state in the tournament.
Jeez.
We have Jack Vaughn from OVW in the tournament.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
That slept.
We have the Mad Taylor Zodiac
Oh,
in the
man.
heavyweight title tournament.
Hey, Sean's on his way too.
Charles Colton is walking around with like 3 belts on his waist.
Yeah,
right now.
I saw that. Hey, for a while there, he had no 3 belts. Well, now he regained the title they lost, and I'm like,
Hey, Charles, I'll go ahead and tell you right now. Go ahead and pull up my Jail Rock page and look at the big picture of me with 4 belts. I'm just saying, buddy.
hey, that's right.
Ooh.
Also,
Just saying, homie.
also don't forget that you also hold the longest record that no one's ever talked about. That you still
that's
hold.
Correct. And as a matter of fact, the company that I hold that belt record for has a show August 2nd in Tennessee.
Hell yeah. That's
Wow.
awesome.
And I'm going to relinquish the heavyweight title to OWA back to the promoter
on
to
that show.
end my over 2,000 day title reign as heavyweight champion.
That is a record-breaking, record-holding. That's awesome.
But he's got a list already drawn up of the names, and some of the names drop off and some different names come back on, but just about everybody that's on that list holds a belt for some other promotion somewhere in Kentucky or Tennessee. Like
Ooh.
even Marcus Johnson.
Marcus
who-
Johnson, yes.
He just,
Great name.
He just defeated Stan Sierra
For the USWF Heavyweight
on
Championship.
Saturday night down at Lincoln County Fair.
Hell yeah, he did.
Speaking of
And
USWF, there will be a USWF fair show tomorrow night, correct, Dale? Tomorrow night?
Yes,
Wednesday?
Nicholasville.
Yeah, we're plugging you, Jimmy, so give us some love.
Big Beard said that
Stop being
sounds
drunk.
awesome.
Also, Terry England will be down in Elizabethtown for a fair show for USWF/UCW/KWF
He's
production.
running Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at the Hardin
Yes.
County Fair.
Love it.
Goodness.
Dale, did you say something about there's a show tomorrow in Nicholasville?
Yep, at the Jessamine County Fair.
Hell yeah.
That's the only closest.
That's
one I
close.
The American Giant, Buck Benzer, will be in Elizabethtown looking for somebody to beat down tomorrow night.
Are you familiar?
That's right.
Are you familiar with how tall he is?
7
Yeah.
foot tall.
He
7
is
foot
exactly
tall.
7 foot tall.
He was at EWA.
Yep, he will be in E-Town looking to hurt somebody tomorrow night.
You know who else is familiar with him? Austin Dime when he got chokeslammed.
Now.
Hey.
Don't bring the young diamond down like that.
I'm an honorary Diamond cartel member.
They're still,
I can
Oh,
bring him
you
up.
are, and
Yeah, I
I'm
am.
not. That's bullshit.
I've always
Hey.
been.
That is bullshit.
Jayne.
The
listen.
sequined cartel.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey,
they're
And I-
still picking up pieces of
Ah.
Austin now from when he got slammed.
I am an OG cartel member.
That's right.
That's true.
OG.
He is.
Get on that level, Johnny.
Yeah, but he's the OG.
Also,
You got a member.
in case you're wondering if you know who Gentleman Jim Chadwick is, I am a member of the former Gentleman's Club with Gentleman Jim Chadwick.
And
as
that's
well.
the man that inspired this and this.
I'll drink my water bottle with my pinky out.
Dale's going to stay quiet because he don't like Jim. I'm just saying.
Oh, man. Hey, that's understandable.
I read the craziest. We were talking about Buck Bresler just a second ago.
Yes.
And that he is 7 foot. He's a 7 foot tall American giant. And if you've been lucky enough to see him perform in person, he is outstanding. But I was reading an online story. Like, apparently they did a very in-depth article with him where he was talking about where he got to meet Vince McMahon backstage.
Nice.
And he went back and he had just started like working with either WCW or WWF. And he went backstage and he just so happened to see Vince off by himself. And that he introduced himself. This story absolutely floors me. But he introduced himself and he was like, hey, I just want to let you know if you ever need anybody. And he introduced himself as a jobber, strike one. He was like, hey, if you ever need somebody that's like a jobber, you never need somebody like in this position, just let me know. And he was putting himself out there. Well, that's like a no-no.
Yeah.
With Vince McMahon, especially during that time because like Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, everybody had signed to WCW. And so like he was super sensitive. I can only imagine during that time. And he was like, oh, hey, he was like, yeah, he was like, you did good out there. And then like he shook his hand. And then when he explained what he was talking to him about, and he was like, hey, he was like, you can use me in the future. He was like, get the f away from me. And that was Vince Sr.'s response. And then he got pulled aside later and they were like, hey, did you try to go up and talk to Vince? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I did. And they were like, yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that.
I watched one of his matches on YouTube where he wrestled Kevin Nash in WCW.
Yes.
Early 90s.
Yeah.
Bobby Blade said, JR was never a member of Lone Wolf Enterprises, though.
He was lucky
That's
enough
a
to-
lie, Bobby. Well, that's a lie, Bobby. You were my manager in Georgetown at PTW when Calvin was promoter because you came out as my manager and me and Gene and Siren. So that includes me as a member of Lone Wolf Enterprises. So suck it, Blade.
Suck it, Blade.
That's right,
It's the
Blade.
official podcast answer.
I can't believe that Blade tried all that.
My daughter's here. She's in the other room.
Oh, hey, Sean.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
Josie, my buddy. Johnny?
Oh, speaking of wrestling
up,
shows,
brother?
Friday night, I believe, EWA has a show this Friday.
Yep, they do. Gold Rush.
This is Calamity, Jayne, your podcast.
I believe it's in Danville.
Yep,
I'm not
it's
100%
Danville.
sure.
Yes, it is.
Guys, go out to EWA this Friday night because Gold Rush is happening.
Yep.
You don't want to miss it.
Shout out to my guys down there. What's up?
That's right, because a lot of the guys that are going to be at KWF
Make sure nobody runs off.
is also going to be at EWA this Friday. So go out there and get a first class look at what you're going to be seeing September 7th.
You will see Chris Crow in action.
Great guy.
No good Jacob Bradley.
No good Jacob Bradley. Chris Crow, I think, is going to be in our heavyweight title tournament. I've reached out to him, talked to him a little bit.
Hell yeah.
So we have him booked on some shows. Let me talk about this UPS show I got coming up for that the podcast got me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Great roster coming up for that show.
I turn this off.
Jordan Cage will be on the UPS Teamster show.
Legendary.
We will have Mickey Midas on the UPS Teamster show. Huge, top-notch roster. It's going to be a great show.
That's right. I mean, from the sounds of it, you got everything perfectly made.
Yes.
All this first class talent. I think that people are going to be excited when they finally get to see these guys September 7th. But you've also got August 1st.
That's right. In the meantime, come on down to the show that the museum is paying the dime for everybody to come out and watch this Miss Elizabeth exhibit show. It's going to be great. We've got the same top-notch talent coming in for this. We're going to have on all our shows.
That's right. Y'all don't want to miss it.
Chairs are going to be up, provided for everybody.
Awesome.
And I
Yep,
believe
it's a full show.
the museum said they would have food trucks there, I think.
Oh, man.
So it's going to be a big event.
That's what I'm talking about because if there's anyone that deserves that, it's Miss Elizabeth.
Charles Colton will be in action on this show.
Also going to be
Confirmed him.
Sunday night.
Yeah, Charles is going to be here in the studio Sunday evening before we do our Evolution coverage.
Awesome.
So, hope you bring your wheelbarrow for your belts.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about KWF whenever he comes here.
Yes.
Because
Good.
that's awesome to have the champ on that show. And you just know that he wants to add
Oh,
that.
he does, indeed. He's already eyeing that belt. He's eyeing the tag team belts, which Charles is a former tag team champion with me for USWF.
Heck yeah. You sure that he's not also trying to eye the women's title?
He may be.
Oh, that,
He might put on a dress and
He's
try to
he's-
compete.
he's
that's
title
what
greedy.
Bobby Blade will do.
Oh no!
He's
That-
already done that to me once.
The
Hey,
lone
you're
wolf,
right.
The Lone Wolf Women's Championship.
He won the first ladies title in Georgetown.
Get out,
He
All
did.
women's show.
No!
Bobby
He
Blade.
did. Yes, he did.
Bobby Blade.
They tried to strip him of the title. He came out with a pregnancy test, said, I'm pregnant.
I had the whole
Get
show.
out.
He did.
I
He
had
did.
The whole show
I wasn't a
booked,
fan back then, but
start
I
to
did.
finish. And the tail end was a battle royal with every woman that was there that night to get in the ring. And it came down to Jessie Belle Smothers
Yes.
against Mary Elizabeth Monroe. That's Kelly Klein. And that's who my two finalists were supposed to be. And next thing I know is Bobby Blade's in the ring. And he has been told this is a solid woman's show, including women refereeing. And he showed on up, and yeah.
Yes.
Next thing I know is he's claiming he's the first ever Vicious Vixens ladies champion.
Pulled a straight Kaufman with it.
Yes, he did.
I didn't know, Dale. I says, yeah, I'm in charge here. Like, who told you to go do that? Ooh.
So basically, like Bobby Blade is like the final boss for who I have to defeat to get the KWF.
Yes.
Book it, pal.
Yeah, he just,
Basically, Bobby Blade is what happens when Bobby Blade wants to go against all women.
well, we're not doing a battle royal to crown whoever wins becomes the ladies. We're having an actual tournament. But maybe if Bobby Blade has really got enough testosterone and wants to take a shot at this, JR, why don't we just throw in an added battle royal at the very tail end with all the ladies and throw Bobby Blade in there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Let him handle
I
Maria.
second that
and
motion.
Mama.
I third it.
I second that motion.
That'd
I
be
mean, if he was
interesting.
pregnant at one time, I feel like that's
He's
significant.
still pregnant now. The baby never came.
Bobby Blade, it's your time to shine, brother.
Speaking of Bobby
I mean,
Blade,
you
will
see
be.
him now.
Everybody can come see Bobby at the Miss Elizabeth show. He will be there in live and in color.
Will he dress
Heck
like Miss
yeah.
Elizabeth?
Maybe.
Well, the ladies' title is going to happen somewhere in the first couple of months of next year.
The
That's
rapping
awesome.
the rapping referee Ken Tucky will
Yeah.
be at the show in Frankfurt for Miss Elizabeth. In case you
Awesome.
know Kentucky.
Hell
He's getting
yeah.
back into the scene.
I love Mr. Kenneth.
That's what I'm talking
Buddy of
about.
mine.
And he used to referee for me years ago.
Yep.
Also, don't forget, Kenneth was also promoting APW at the Indiana Jeffersonville Arena.
Right on.
And that's a badass thing because you're also going to be seeing guys that's going to be competing at KWF right there on that show. You got Omega there.
Omega will be at the UPS.
Nice.
Speaking of
show.
Bobby Blade, I don't know. I guess Beetlejuice happened. He just spoke in and
summoned
said,
him.
I'll pull out another positive pregnancy test and go right after that women's title.
See, I told you, Bobby
Bobby,
Blade still got the edge.
There's times I wonder about you, man. That's one of them, buddy.
And don't forget that he also had feuds with all of the women.
Yes. There's a picture of all of them beating the living crap out of him.
Well, brother, I got news for you. You come on out and you bring that pregnancy test, and I'll still whip your pregnant ass. You get in that
Hey,
ring.
before you know it, he might be trying to come after your Nice Guy Andy podcast women's championship.
Absolutely not.
I would love to see that.
Absolutely not.
Maybe
I
that
bet
would
you
be a
would.
good matchup.
That would be
It would
great.
be.
Jayne against Bobby?
Throw out the open challenge to him and say, "Come on, big boy."
Yes.
Take
See,
this.
there we are, booking the
ladies.
territory right now.
We got Kyle Maggart tuning in.
What's up, Kyle?
What's
How you
up,
doing,
Kyle
buddy?
Maggart?
Kyle Lander, what's up?
That's what it's all about.
Tune in and watch his AMW show on YouTube.
Hey, Kyle, when we were at the Ice Center, you threw one of the glow sticks into the crowd. My daughter got one. So she's got it at home still.
Kyle
She
Maggart
says
said
thank you.
it's 2025. If Bobby Blade identifies as a pregnant woman, who are we to judge?
Hey, you're right. We can't judge him. He's basically being his true to himself.
We support you, Bobby, no matter what.
If he wants the women's towel, he can go for a women's towel. We
Bobby
support
Blade
him.
coming out the closet. Jeremy Ballard says,
He can come for Calamity Jane's belt, but all he has to do is have a promise from Calamity Jane that she won't punch or kick him in the belly.
Well,
That's right.
she'll break her
She
hand.
can punch and kick him in other places.
We sure that he
If she hits
I
him
will
in the belly,
DDT
she'll
that-
break her hand.
I'll DDT that whole baby.
doesn't have the dress
Don't
still
hurt
that he
the
wore
baby.
that night.
Don't hurt the baby. We're gonna get canceled.
JR, in the book that you wrote, you had many stories that came from Bobby Blade. Was one of them when he won the ladies' title?
No, mostly about when he pooped his pants in the ring.
Oh,
So that was the first time. The second time will happen when he goes against Calamity.
Yes.
No, it was more than once. There's multiple poop pantses in the ring.
Kyle said.
It's a whole other book.
Kyle said, Sean, she can't have just one glow stick. There's more for sale at the merch table.
Okay, thanks for that information.
Well,
But she got the one for free, so she ain't complaining.
JR,
Bobby Blade was laughing.
JR is taking in info for book number 2.
Awesome.
Bobby's already sent me a bunch of stories. I probably got 10 to 12 lined up for a second book, maybe next year. or the year
That's
after.
what I'm talking about.
You're getting stories from Vito Andretti out of Louisville area.
I love me some Vito.
And you've collected up some more just by finding out what's going on in this room.
That's right. And you know what?
Yep, anybody's got a story they want to share, hit me up on Facebook. I'll put it in the next book.
You got Calamity Jane talking about the first time she ever got into start training.
The wrestling.
Throwing up 3 times.
Yep.
That is a little
That's a story. Yep.
Which 3 times? Look, I just threw up 3 times. That's rookie numbers. I gotta get those numbers up, as somebody told me.
That's right.
But yeah,
I only puked once, so I'm going to have to get
You
my
gotta
numbers
bump
up.
yours up too.
only puked once.
At Bobby's age, he poops himself every day in and out of the ring, Kyle Maggart said.
Well, I mean,
That sounds accurate.
Lander,
That's
Jesus.
accurate.
Kyle's not wrong. Bobby don't drink pop anymore because last time he did it, he got Coke in his sock. He posted a whole video on Facebook of
I think they
pouring
have
Coke in his
something
sock.
called adult.
Put the Coke for your sock!
They have something called Adult Depends. I wonder if he knows about that.
That's right. And for anyone that's just tuning in, y'all see it on the table. We're out there as the Kentucky Wrestling Federation Women's Championship.
And heavyweight.
Ain't that a thing of beauty? And behind that is the Kentucky Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship, which is also a thing of perfect beauty. Whew.
I love it. I like the silver styling with like the black scroll work
that's
behind
amazing.
it.
And I like the
Slick.
color. That is fire.
And coming up in the future will be the tag team titles.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. And I'll send you a date and we'll get set up.
As they come in.
Brother.
We'll set it up for maybe the second week of August. That way, y'all get the first week out of the way, because August 1st, y'all going to be having y'all show. And then next week, the week after that, the Tuesday, 7:30, same time,
Yes.
we're going to be showing that off.
Kyle Maggart said Superfly only threw it once because he's got a solid gag reflex, or so I'm told.
No, Kyle Maggart. Now, listen here, Kyle Maggart.
What did he say?
That Johnny's got a solid gag reflex.
Now, see, he's upset because I was all for Tony Presley.
Oh.
Well, guess what? Tony Presley is a great boss. I like Kyle Maggart
So
too.
you're saying Kyle's not a great boss?
He's a great boss, but I've never worked for him.
See,
And then Jeremy Ballard said Calamity's just coming for the fame.
Just come for the fame.
Jeremy.
No. I think Calamity Jayne is already famous. She's just
Correct.
wanting more.
She is. Hey, is Jeremy Ballard on WWE 2K25? Calamity Jayne is.
That's true.
I've yet to download it.
Which you can get today. Just go to Community Creations and type in Calamity Jayne, and it should pop her up.
Tell Lanny Poffo to hush over.
The hush over there.
Who's Lanny Poffo?
Which one is Lenny Poffo? Oh, is he talking about Dale Bass?
What?
None of us are
What
wearing
about
graduation hats.
Kyle Merrick said, tell Lenny Poffo over there to hush up. And I'm looking around the
He's got
room.
Genius haircut. It's just a little whiter than the genius.
Does Kyle need for me to speak anything involving Kyle?
Oh,
I want to hear it.
oh.
What's the matter, baby?
What do you got on Kyle Mack?
I'm sorry. Okay.
He's like, no, I'll keep that to myself.
Well, I'll tell JR so he can put it in the book.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll do it.
Yeah.
No,
He
I'm
called me
calling Superfly Lanny Poffo. Oh.
Well, listen, Kyle Mack.
Johnny can't suck his. Never mind.
Now listen.
I
yeah.
was in the dressing
What?
room when that incident with Lanny doing that act.
Oh, you really?
I
Wow.
It happened in Georgetown, back in Georgetown, talking about his dexterity.
Save that for the book.
You got it.
Yeah.
Mike Elmore says, what's up, Johnny? Kyle needs to hire me, the digital wizard, to help with AMW online presence.
If you know, you know, he said.
If you
Because
know,
Lenny
you know.
Poffo had
Okay.
no gag reflex.
I don't want to know what.
Now, I want to say
God rest his soul.
There's an interesting story about Kyle and his dad or something getting in a fight with the Poffos. Kyle told me in the locker room. I can't remember. Kyle put it in the messenger so I can get it right. I remember you talking about something, your dad getting in a fight with Lanny or Randy or somebody at a show.
Oh, jeez. Hopefully it's. Well, if he lived, that means he didn't get into an argument with Randy.
That's true.
Had to have been Lanny.
What you saw of Randy, the way he acts, is the way he truly is all the time.
Yeah. And also-
He's being himself all the time. When you saw him on
And don't forget-
WWE talking on TV, the way he acts and looks.
Don't forget, he once got into a knife fight with a guy, but he was holding a butter knife and fighting the guy that had a real knife just because he was trying to find something they could use to fight the guy. And over the fact that he could not eat his Waffle House dinner.
In peace, because the guy came in and said, I just got married. Randy's like, who
JR,
cares?
did you ever have anyone ask you the question like I've been asked? If you ever had to walk down a dark alley and you could only have 3 people walk down that dark alley with you, who would you pick?
Well, no, nobody's ever asked me that. But
It was Randy.
My number one pick is Randy. My number one pick for having somebody walk down the dark alley with me is Randy.
Yeah,
Rip Rogers might be number 2.
he was strong as an ox.
Oh, Rip is so knowledgeable.
Yep.
I mean, if he wanted to, he could turn you inside out in just a blink.
Yeah.
Rip is, he's very underrated.
I'd have Haku inside that too.
Oh, yeah. Now, who would you think, if you had to pick a name of somebody, even one person that would walk with you down the dark alley, who would you have?
I'd probably have to take Bruiser Brody.
Yes.
Harley Race.
That's a good choice too.
Bruiser Brody, jeepers. Oh, that would be nasty, all right.
I was on a show with Les Thatcher once, and he was talking about working with Harley Race, and some of the people were asking him if he was stiff. Like he said, he's like, "Oh no, Harley wasn't stiff. Harley wasn't stiff." And I was thinking, Les, I don't think you're telling me the truth, but
Exactly. Because Hardy Race was one of those guys, he could hit you if he wanted to hurt you bad.
Yeah.
He was the very first guy to slam on Andre, contrary to what Hogan will ever say.
That's right. Because he was strong as an ox himself. Haku, that's one of those guys that you don't want to piss off.
But Haku is like the nicest, sweetest guy you'd ever want to meet, they say, but you get on his wrong side, like one guy saying wrestling's fake, this, that, and I hate that work. That's the worst thing ever. And he
Bites
just
off the guys.
bite dude's nose and goes back to finishing his dinner like nothing.
Told him, hey, is that fake enough for you?
I just got off a wrestling show one night, and I went to my shoot job afterwards, and I still had my wrist tape and stuff on. I was taking it off as I was clocking in. One of the guys was like, "What have you been doing?" I was like, "Well, I just came from a wrestling show." He's like, oh, that fake stuff. I said, I'll tell you what, buddy. So anytime you want to come get in the ring and try it out for about an hour, you're going to let me know how fake you think it is.
Kyle Magger wants to ask you, Sean, when did Hardy slam Andre?
Sometime in the late 70s, early 80s. There's footage out there.
5 or 10 years before he and Hogan did their thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Hogan and them.
In Canada somewhere, I do believe, Kyle.
The Hogan and Andre slam, that's more known because of WrestleMania.
Yeah, but it was done before WrestleMania, too.
I'd just be a Google search.
Yeah, Google search.
Write those names up and say body slam and see what it shows.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was.
I watched a couple of the old videotapes, like the greatest stuff from the early 80s, and it had Hogan when he was doing the white trunks slamming Andre.
Yeah.
When he was still
Yep.
in the trunks.
Yeah.
That's right.
Fro.
There were
Damn,
several
Andre.
people that had body slammed Andre.
I used to have a greatest of steel cage match at VHS, and Andre wrestles Kamala in the cage, and he climbs up on the top rope and does the whoopee cushion butt
Yep.
splash off the top rope to Kamala.
Hell
It was
yeah.
awesome.
That's a great DVD to have, too.
Yeah,
was a
on
VHS.
Something that is going on nowadays that didn't 50 years ago when I started. Like 50 years ago when I started, nobody was videotaping anything that we ever did. Nothing was ever being filmed.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. The only way anything of me ever being filmed is whenever I went up to like Detroit and I was in, 3-second squash on TV. But other than TV work, there was no cameras videotaping anybody,
Anything.
anywhere during the 70s. And then finally, when it's in the 80s, some people are putting cameras up and they're just doing the show,
That's what I hate about back then because
Way back then, none of us from way back then.
they didn't think to keep the memories alive by filming that. One day you can go back and watch it again through VHS.
Like one of the greatest ever was Adrian Street,
Oh, yes, I love
Yep.
Adrian Street.
and there's not that many videos of him out there.
Which
But
sucks.
man, if you really wanted to have a wrestling match with somebody, he's one guy you don't want to piss off.
I watched a match where he absolutely wore Randy Savage out.
Man.
Wore him
Yeah.
out.
Exactly.
Wrestling wise, he could do Randy.
That's where Colt Steele went and trained in Florida was with Adrian Street.
And I
That's
had,
right, Kyle.
I had Adrian
Yeah,
Street
totally.
on my Facebook friends list, and I probably talked to him once a week for probably the last 2 or 3 years of his life.
That's right, Kyle. Hogan did slam
Oh,
Andre a bunch.
Something I'm curious about, like you mentioned Detroit, and that's actually where my dad grew up at and graduated there in like the 70s.
East Lansing and Wayne.
Oh man, so he was from Dearborn Heights, and Cobalt Hall was like tantamount. Like that was such a huge deal, and like Jimmy Buckle, which we try to get Jimmy on the show, and eventually we are going to get Jimmy on the show. Shout out to Jimmy Buckle.
Hell yeah.
And he worked with the Poffos, and that was like kind of part of like their group.
Are you talking about Jimmy Buckle?
I'm talking about Jimmy.
Yes, you are.
The Jimmy Buckle.
Every time you said that name, I kept thinking, are you talking
I
about
know
him?
that's the guy.
Oh, okay.
No,
I bet
like,
you didn't know that
Chief,
you knew him.
I knew
Chief
his
Little
name.
Lone
It's a-
Eagle, the former midget world championship
yeah, Garvin did.
that he is from and lives in, to this day, Auburn, Kentucky, which is where I'm from, and I have to drive here. And I'm just going to bring that up every single podcast that I drive here from Auburn, Kentucky.
That's
every
right.
Damn time that we do a show. But I love Jimmy and his late wife, Sonia. Fantastic, outstanding people. But getting to know him, seeing his wrestling scrapbook, we have plans to do a whole show just about his wrestling scrapbook.
Heck
and like
yeah.
being on the same card with Andre, being on the
From
same
Nova
card with.
Scotia.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
He came from up in Canada.
he's
on
a
down
he's
here.
a newfie.
He worked for years here in the Kentucky area for Dale Mann, and we had him all over the place. And he even got his son briefly to get out and do that.
He did
Hell
he did
yeah.
one of the craziest pins that I think I've ever seen, and it was basically like a roll over and then pinning their shoulders with the tips of your feet. and I'll have to send that to you guys because it's insane. He's outstanding though. He's one of mine and my dad's best friends. So shout out to Jimmy. I probably give Jimmy a shout out every single time. But
I'll definitely drop my name at him.
Man,
Hell yeah!
we
And you know what?
He knew me and Miss Vicky.
Send me the footage.
That's right.
Oh,
Kyle Maggart. Garvin did slam Andre in Knoxville in '78. That's way before they start popularizing that Hogan slammed Andre at WrestleMania 3. Because he'd been slammed way before that. Way before the whole WrestleMania 3 thing. It's just that they...
did it?
Yep.
That's back when Andre could actually work.
Yep.
Before his body started wearing out, his hips, his lower back.
Yep. And when he did get slammed at WrestleMania 3, he was not the Andre that came before that.
Yeah.
No, he was out of shape.
Hogan could not have picked him up on his own. Andre had to give him something.
Yep.
Had to do something just for Hogan to quickly do it.
Exactly.
Just the turn.
And I feel like Andre made Hogan sweat on purpose.
You didn't see Hogan pick up Andre and go. You didn't see that.
Nope, you didn't.
You saw just.
It was a quick body slam because unlike all the previous people that had body slammed Andre, Hogan just did it quickly.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't contain that kind of weight.
Andre went with him as much as Andre could, and Hogan took him as well as he could, and they did what they did.
And like they
That's why you
said,
didn't see that body slam when they'll pick you up. And, no, you didn't
exactly.
see it.
And if Andre didn't want you to get over, you wasn't getting over.
Nope.
And he didn't like Macho Man because Macho Man liked that baby oil, and like Andre would say, "No baby oil." Chop the shit out of you. That was very real hate they
So
had.
do you think Andre, if he were alive today, would have liked did he?
He would have beat his ass for sure.
I'm sorry.
Like he
I couldn't-
tried
I'm
to
sorry.
Macho Man.
I shouldn't have done that.
But that's Andre for you. If Andre didn't like you, you'd know it. If Andre liked you, he'd work with you.
He was like that apparently with the Sheik too, like Iron Sheik, and then like apparently he was talking a bunch of trash to him backstage, and you know how Andre would do that like step over where he would step on him and like step over, which was designed to not hurt you as much.
Yeah.
And they were doing some show, and Andre, full blown Iron Sheik had been talking a bunch of trash backstage. He went full blown, both 2 feet, and they said that he held it for like ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they were doing it, that he held it for the longest time.
That's what happens when Andre don't like you.
Oh, Jeremy.
Well, if Randy Savage was here right now, I'd be dead. Because he would kill me in an instant if he was on me.
Yeah.
Ever since that incident happened with Danny Fargo on the microphone and like that, from that moment on, I didn't get along with him, and I was still working with Dale Mann doing shows for ICW.
So what you're saying is that you are the very first time Macho Man sent for the man, because there's a running joke among the fans.
We were on TV,
And he did that on live TV. And the one where he attacks Tori Wilson, where he punches the wall beside her head to make her look
Smacked her in
scared.
the face because
Yeah.
she was laughing.
Yeah.
It killed the.
So you were the very first sin for the man, because the fans, they have this meme, right, where they have a video and it shows Macho Man, he makes a beeline, and anyone that corpses, Macho Man, sin for the man, he's throwing tables around, coming after him. You were the first one that he went after just for corpsing.
just because I smiled, and he told me to wipe the smile off my face. And, you know, and he was just looking at me, and, you know, I was like,
Yeah.
and I couldn't. And it came right back up, and I said, sorry, I can't. You know, get it off your face. I can't.
Macho Man really did sin for the man that night. And Tori Wilson kind of also got the same thing when he slapped her for real. Just to make her give the expression they wanted. Whew.
So Dale, do you want to give us a formal statement that you are or are not the cream of the crop? Because I feel like, me personally knowing you, you're like the cream
I
of the
don't
crop.
really get it why people think I've just been in the business for 50 years. I've worked for just about every promoter. I've owned like half a dozen circuits. I've been co-owner on half a dozen circuits. I've helped fund about half a dozen others. You know, there's some promotions is up today that wouldn't be up today if they didn't have my money or, you know, just my name.
You, Larry D.
That's true.
Hey,
You bastard.
Hey, Mary.
There's,
Hey,
you
Mom.
know, and then I've done it all from the very beginning, from refereeing and wrestling. I wrote for newspapers. I wrote for magazines. You know, I did reports. You know, I did a little TV work. I was part of the original ICW crew until Miss Elizabeth came.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been fortunate to have certain wrestlers open up the doors for me so I could go to Indianapolis and Detroit and Columbus, Ohio, and down in Tennessee, and I took advantage of doing that. I went down to Texas, and I went to work for Joe Blanchard.
That's right.
And I went down there, and I worked for a couple of months, and I came back. And then here, I guess about 2 months ago, do you remember hearing about the thing up in Indianapolis for
Yeah.
Giants? I was up there, and I got to talk to Tully Blanchard about his
Hell
father.
yeah.
You know, I talked to Tully Blanchard, and I talked with some named people up there that just put shivers down you. Gerald Briscoe. I must have sat and talked with him for about 20 minutes.
You rubbed elbows with someone that you sat underneath the learning tree with.
My mind is just skipping through all these different people that I was there, that I saw, that I talked to. Thunder Rosa.
Oh, nice.
I got some pictures with Thunder Rosa, and I probably spent 15, 20 minutes with her talking about wrestling and wrestling down in Texas, where she has a ladies' school and
She's
all that.
outstanding.
You know, and Sergeant Slaughter.
Hell yeah.
I knew him from maybe late 70s. When I was briefly up in Pennsylvania working up there, I worked for the National Wrestling Federation out of Camden, New Jersey. It was Sergeant Slaughter, Wendy Richter, Silo Sam, Colonel Beers.
Hold up real quick. Kyle Macker says, I'll take your, hey, Dale, I'll take your money. You've not funded us, damn it. What the fuck?
Didn't have to. The people that needed to help came to me. Kyle doesn't need my help. Kyle's got his act together. He's got a good promotion.
He does.
And I think if you ask Kyle who broke him into the business, could he say that Dale Mann was possibly part of his history? Dale Mann is responsible for so many promotions over the last 40 years here in
That's
Kentucky.
right.
Some of them started, some of them flopped. And then he's trained so many wrestlers that then went on and became promoters themselves. But they all modeled their promotion after the way that Dale Mann modeled his. So I still do, whenever I do anything for anybody, I still do it the way that I learned from Dale Mann. He was the number 2 guy to go into the Kentucky Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Hell yeah.
Behind Jerry Lawler. Number 3 was Fabulous Jackie Fargo. Number 4 was Fabulous Danny Fargo.
Nice.
And let's see, we had a Hall of Fame induction thing done by the MWA, which is kind of like one of the greatest promotions in the length of Kentucky history. 2010, we had the Hall of Fame inductions of what I would say is the greatest class ever to go into a Hall of Fame. It was Dale Mann, Danny Fargo, Rated X Jimmy Walls, Roger Ruffin from the Northern Wrestling Federation, Bobby Blade was a surprise act
Hell
to it,
yeah.
and me. And we were the 6 that went in, and I always looked at that as that was the greatest Hall of Fame induction ever because of the first 4 names I mentioned. Dale Mann, Danny Fargo, Roger Ruffin, Rated X, you know, they were the promotions.
That's
So
right.
now, you know, Danny Fargo and Dale Mann, they're resting up above. There is no promotion pertaining to them. But we still have Roger Ruffin running the running the Northern Wrestling Federation, and we still have Rated X running United States Wrestling Federation, which I'm still involved with him. I've been involved with Rated X on and off since the very beginning of when he first put the circuit together. And then there's Terry England. I've known Terry England since he was a trainee of Dale Mann. And he runs his promotion the same way Dale Mann ran his. The same complete instruction of how you do it, everything. It's just a follow-up of the way Dale Mann used to do his promotion. And Terry England kind of runs a certain section of Kentucky, the southern west, and Rated X. He's just doing fair shows now. But when he was running house shows, he was all across the middle Kentucky area. And, I worked for just about every promotion there is here.
Kyle Maggart said, never worked for Dale or met him. However, Dale Mann trained Eddie Browning, who trained John Noble. Then they both turned around and trained me.
Yep.
Well, Dale Mann's fingerprints is over on every promotion in Kentucky.
Just
Yes,
back
it is.
back and you'll find it.
Even KWF, because Danny Fargo trained me. Dale Mann and Dale Bass were there when Danny trained. So Dale Mann's everywhere.
See that? That's history right there.
Yeah, I was partners with Dale Mann's a couple different times up here in the Georgetown area. And then when I pulled out from Dale Mann, Danny Fargo then bought it from Dale Mann. And then it was within a couple of months, he then approached me, and I went in as Danny Fargo's partner, silent partner. He had majority. And I stayed with him for a while before I left. And I think when I left from Dale Mann, I ran a show at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and I had Sherry Martell, a friend of mine, was on the show. Doug Vines was there. And so I ran that show, and Sherry then suggested to me, like, you know everybody, you know how to run the shows, you know how to do this and that. Let me introduce you to a guy that has a wrestling ring, that has the time to go out and put out posters. You do the posters and give them to him, he'll put them up. And, you make the signs, he'll put them up. So that was the beginning of BBW, Bad to the Bone.
Hell
Wrestling.
yeah.
And BBW was,
So Sherry Martell had a hand in that.
yeah, she was the one that actually brought me and Joe Bailey
You
together.
learn something new every day, don't you?
I
Jay?
never heard of Joe Bailey. And so that became Bailey and Bass Wrestling. And, that don't sound good. BBW and Madman Pondo, of all people,
Hell yeah.
threw the thing in there about his promotion that he had. I believe he said it was Illinois, and that was Bad to the Bone Wrestling, which was the Skull and Crossbones, which is what we used. And that became Bad to the Bone Wrestling with the Skull and Crossbones. But, it's actually Bailey and Bass Wrestling, And I think I stayed together with Joe for like 8 years. And I was there when JC was like 13, 14 years old, and he was a ring crew along with a couple other guys that was also wrestling, Simon Says and Max Misery, and they were all 15, 16, 17. So they were our ring crew for like the first 3 years, and as soon as they could, they were jumping in the ring and always going through, flipping and flopping, doing all that crazy stuff. Simon Says throwing outside the ring, just about it. Simon Says was big on that. Like every third or fourth show, he'd run over to the ropes and then he'd just cut loose, and then everybody's like, don't go on that side of the ring.
Yeah.
But, I was with him for, I guess, 8 years. And then we all had kind of like a falling out where it was Vicky Bailey, J.C. Bailey, my Vicky and I, the four of us, and Vicky and I wanted to leave, and Joe didn't want us to leave. And Vicky Bailey and J.C. got a hold of the money, and they said, okay, let's pay you off. They paid me back everything, bought me back out, and Vicky and I went our separate way. And then I think Joe ran maybe 3 or 4 months, and then it all just collapsed on him.
Yep.
He let too many of the people that didn't really know how to run a show, or he let them dictate what he was going to do, and his circuit.
That's how it usually goes.
It just intercollapsed.
Exactly.
So much for BBW. And at one time, we were the major promotion in Kentucky. I was running in 28 towns. I did 28 county fairs, and I think we had like 30 house shows going from Ashland, Kentucky, all the way over to Paducah, from Monticello all the way up to Augusta. We were everywhere in between running house shows, and we had names. Bull Payne. You remember who he was? We had Bull Payne on the show. Sherry Martell was part of it. But we had names.
We got something for you here, Dale.
Uh-oh.
Kyle Maggart said, well, since we are talking Hall of Fame, this is a good place as any. But Dale Bass, would you please accept your invite into the AMW Hall of Fame class of 2025 is hazard on November 22nd, 2025.
Hey,
Cream of the crop right there.
there we go, sir. Would you accept that honor?
I'm actually getting chills thinking of that one. This would be a good one. I mean, he has got a good promotion. I'm actually getting chills thinking about that.
Yeah.
Who else is he planning on having for 2025?
Oh, I don't know yet.
I'm just curious. I mean, yeah.
Who else is
I
it? He
wouldn't
says he'll
turn
accept
this
it, Kyle,
down.
but who
I-
else you got going in with him, brother?
I wouldn't turn this down at all.
He's got to make sure that they're at a Dale Bass level of
Well,
Exactly.
badassness. And you know what? I'm just throwing this in there. Like the BBW, that probably wouldn't go over as much in like modern search engines.
I mean, our main events were like scaffold matches.
He says it's a
cage
surprise.
Oh, it's a surprise.
Yeah.
You're
Who's
surprising.
all going in with you?
matches. But, I'm sure I'll know more about this date as the date gets closer, so you
Yeah.
can count me in.
That's awesome.
Bobby
Well-
Blake said, Sherry Martell was fantastic.
Yes,
I
she
worked
was.
for her at the Southern Wrestling Network. She always treated everyone like we mattered and were her equals. Also, she was dressed in front of the boys. She didn't give a damn.
I did tell you, it's not in your book, is it? Any story that I told you about Sherry?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I
going to
don't
be...
know if I can even say any of these stories about Sherry.
Of course you can. We're
You can inside
give
book.
us your utmost confidence.
Put 'em in the next
It's not like we have anybody tuning in.
Book number 2.
Yeah.
I showed you a photo.
Yeah, I
didn't
saw the
Oh.
I saw the
Oh.
picture.
Oh.
There's photographic evidence.
Yeah, Sherry was a good friend. She stayed over at our house many times. And Jimmy Valiant, whenever he passed through, if he needed a place to crash, he would come by at our house to stay too. But yeah, Sherry's stayed in my house a dozen times.
Hell yeah.
Sherry is very free-spirited.
Yup.
Kyle says they haven't started sending the other invites out, but it's a good class. So
And he
it's their
says,
first
Bull
on,
Payne,
lives in Kansas City.
he thinks.
I think.
I'm over
Okay, I didn't see the I think.
marking out
Yeah,
about
But-
Sherry.
Sherry is responsible for the formation of BBW. And for at least 8 years, we controlled pro wrestling across the state. And you got OVW that stays there in Louisville and doesn't do anything other than just
Exactly.
But we were the only promotion that actually could say we were in from Ashland to Paducah, from Monticello
Hey,
to...
OVW goes out and runs those places. They just don't draw when they run them.
Yeah, that's what I was...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
They're going to be
Yeah.
out this weekend at Courtesy Acura.
And we apparently, whenever like Rated X for the USWF goes into the same town that OVW is at and says, how many people OVW draw? Oh, 15, 20. How many do you draw? Or a house was down. Oh, how many do you draw? Oh, 75, 100, Well, OVW drew 15.
Yeah, exactly.
TV and all that.
Exactly.
I wonder if that's like, and I'm hoping that that's something that changes in the future because like I'm a huge, God, I love OVW. I love seeing what they're doing, but if it's like outside of advertising there at Davis Arena, would really like to see them step up like their advertising and their community outreach outside of Davis Arena, outside
That's
of
right.
the Louisville
I
area.
don't know what they do to advertise their product, but my guess is they don't put out posters.
They don't.
Maybe
They're still living on the
To.
developmental deal they had from way back in the day.
Yeah, they are.
Didn't
We're
they
all-
just get bought out again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
Was there some Japanese?
By a Welsh company. Welsh company.
Oh. I
Rob
heard-
Edwards, who runs a Welsh football team, actually.
I don't know if it's the same now as it used to be, but probably 15 years ago when guys were coming out of OVW and girls like Alita Ortiz and Haley Shadows and a couple other people
Oh,
who said, "Oh, we went and trained at OVW." They would start working the indie circuit, then they have to retrain and learn how to work an indie show because they were working OVW style shows.
Exactly.
they're trained a certain way.
Different.
Yes.
But over those years, now Hustle Rip Rogers and
Doug Vines.
Doug Basham, and there were several others started taking over as being trainers there.
Yeah.
And then they actually started kicking out some good talent. But as soon as you got to be good talent,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
or down to Florida.
And what gets me is that they try and live off of the past instead of, trying to get their product out there. Instead of just sticking to Louisville, why ain't they tried to do more around Kentucky?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just have to interrupt Johnny for a second. Did you just call it Louisville?
Yes, he did.
Yes, I did.
Are you from here at all?
Doesn't sound like it.
Lexington,
Y'all
Kentucky.
heard that, right, guys?
He said
Thank you. Yes, it is. It's Louisville. Louisville.
I'm a Wildcats fan.
Louisville.
It don't
I'm
matter.
a
You
Wildcats
still
fan.
say it right. You're from the state, Johnny. Louisville?
Listen
Are you
here.
kidding me?
Listen here.
And I'm from
Are
like
you a
nine-
Yankee?
I'm
In
from
my
like
damn
900
defense.
I'm like 900 to 1,000 miles north of here. I'm a severe Yankee. And I know it's Louisville.
Even Dale.
No, it's Louisville.
Louisville.
You said Louisville. Who the fuck is Louisville?
Now he's trying to say he didn't say that. See here?
He's saying
You guys heard it.
Louisville.
Go back and replay the tape.
He's
How do you
saying
say it, Cam?
Ville on the tail end of it,
Louisville?
too.
I say
Louisville.
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 Louisville. That's what I say.
Louisville.
I'm not even from
Louisville.
I'm a Lexington, Kentucky guy.
I'm
And in
glad.
my defense, I've never had to say Louisville.
I'm glad that
You just said it, so there you
glad that
go.
Sean and Johnny are sitting
That
next to
does
each
count.
other. Let this stand for the record. I'm just saying that if you have a favorite host, Louisville and Louisville.
Louisville.
I'm never
Not
gonna let you live this
Louisville.
down.
Louisville.
So once I get all set up in my house I'm moving into, I'm going to set me up a little studio and try to do a JR Rock of Ages affiliate podcast with the Nice Guy Andy podcast.
Hell yeah. And also, Jim Ballard, don't you be calling it Loserville. It is Louisville.
Loserville.
He said Loserville.
Louisville. Ryan Campbell says Louisville.
Louisville.
Is that your actual name?
He says Loserville.
Well, since we're
Good.
talking about Louisville, not Louisville, I talked to a gentleman out of Louisville who wants to come and see the next KWF show in Frankfurt, the Miss Elizabeth show. One Vic the Bruiser may be
Hey.
sighted in attendance at the show on August 1st.
Hell yeah.
I've been
Louisville.
been friends with him since the beginning of his career.
Hell yeah.
I do believe Terry England will also be in attendance on August the 1st.
That'll
So
be
that's
good.
the
He'll
greatest of all times from Louisville.
He will be the guy picking the
Who's
pennies
that?
up out of the parking lot.
How am I leaving?
Nah. I thought you were going to hit me with a wrestler being the greatest of all
We
time.
haven't had Terry England pop up on the board, have we?
No.
Nah, because
Been
he,
ringing.
cause he tends to be busy at this time. Counting his money, his change.
And dropping a dime on the floor and stopping everything to
Yeah.
chase it.
That's what happened.
Sounds about like
He was going to tune in, but then he dropped the dime, and now he's got to spend a few
Oh,
minutes
he-
trying to get it back
Okay, so
up.
look for it.
Hey, at that fair show we were at last year, he was somebody dropped a coin and he stopped everything he was doing and went to go hunt for it.
He did. Also,
That's a joke in the dressing room.
It's a
true.
joke, but it's
No,
true. It's
it
not a
is.
joke.
I'm pretty sure that he took the money that I had. That was my prop money.
He had that.
Because it looked like $1.
He had that cooler in there filled with water. He said 2 waters, and it's those little waters probably no
Yeah.
bigger than this soda can.
It's
Two
about,
water-
it's about this right here.
It wasn't even
about
that
this.
big.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You talking about when we were in Salina?
Yeah.
We were backstage.
Yeah.
Was he selling the water?
He didn't sell it. I'm shocked.
It's like
I wasn't gonna
two
say
little-
nothing.
2 little bottles for $1.
I wasn't going to say nothing
it's that
because I
kind of
didn't want him to
water-
be like, how much money you got
Suggested
on it?
donation.
It's that group.
He did, didn't he?
That,
I
He
tried,
wasn't
he did.
selling it, but he probably didn't pay for it.
it's that brand
He
of
didn't.
water that you would never buy.
Yeah.
You know, it's that super discount
But he didn't look at the bottom of the thing. He had all the cheap water on top, but down at the very bottom, if you really stick your hand down in there, he had the good water.
Yeah, he did.
So some of us went out to the ring with soaking wet arm. Just
Oh yeah, I was talking to Terry at this Western Kentucky State Fair show. He comes in with his cooler full of stuff, and he's got these expensive Fiji waters for himself. The first thing I said was, "Who the hell bought these?" I know you didn't, Terry. They cost too much.
Exactly.
He's back there sucking them down.
that's who we're talking about is pennies, Jeremy. We're not talking about trash.
He gives
He
everybody
won't
else-
pick up trash.
I'll take Kroger water any day.
Terry's
Hey,
handing out
it's-
some
That's
wonderful
right.
water
Me
for the
too.
toilet.
That's what this is.
That's great value
I mean,
water. That's
Terry's
Walmart water.
got all the best sketchy value water for everybody that's the talent, and he's over there drinking that Fiji, sucking it down.
Yeah.
That's right. Terry England is the man that will
He
make
still
you
got
pay for the
his first
handshake.
dollar he made in the business.
We're trying to summon him at this point. We just keep mentioning his name. We're
Just so
like,
y'all know,
Love me some Terry England.
Take a coin and throw on the floor. He'll appear.
the reason why he's not tuning in right now is because he's probably trying to sell a handshake to someone right now. He's probably
Didn't
telling
he-
them $2 for a handshake.
Didn't they have Jerry Lawler in? He got a cup of coffee and they charged Jerry Lawler like 50
No.
cents for a cup of
Yes.
coffee.
I
You
have,
gotta
no,
tell us that.
I have the story. I got it straight.
Okay, yes.
Straight from Terry's mouth. It's in the book. It was not coffee. It was Coke. And yes,
Excuse
he
me. I
did.
thought it was coffee.
Somebody,
I
wa-
got the story straight from Terry.
And you
It was
know,
Coke,
so-
and he
somebody
did
that came in
get
Okay.
paid.
My apologies.
someone that came in here said it was coffee, but they
Well, that's
got
probably
their
what
stuff.
Terry
More
said, I
play.
asked Terry about it. He said that was the rumor. He said, but no, it was not coffee. It was Coca-Cola. And he did make him pay.
He said, "I just want to set the record straight. It was
You see-
coffee.
You see,
It
the
was
king of Memphis.
Coca-Cola.
He
You see,
said
Charles the King."
he said it wasn't his concession, so he wasn't going to pay for it. So he said Jerry Lawler was looking at him, and he was looking at Jerry. He's like, well, I'm not going to pay for it. So Jerry had to take the money out of his pocket and pay for it himself.
yeah,
I thought
exactly.
it
You
came
see,
out of his payoff.
you see that?
Yeah.
Even the king of Memphis cannot escape Terry England's grateful wrath.
He said it was
He'll
like
get
a-
that money.
He said it was like a
It's
Western
frugal.
showdown. He said he was looking at Jerry, and Jerry was looking at him, and he was looking at Jerry. He said, I wasn't going to take no money out of my pocket.
Jerry's probably thinking, this son of a
This guy.
bitch.
The reason why I'm over here shaking my head no during all this time is because it's true.
Yeah, it is.
All this about Terry is true.
We love you, Terry, but
We
come
do,
on,
Terry.
man.
Terry England
Frugal
had.
McDougal over here, Terry England.
I'm going to say this about Terry England.
Let's hear it.
He had the balls to book podcaster versus podcaster when people was telling him
But
not
podcaster
to.
is referee.
You mean the match that ruined wrestling?
Yeah.
Supposedly destroyed
We got
all the
told
professional
we
wrestlers.
ruined wrestling.
Destroyed professional wrestling.
It's been going on for over a
Tennessee
year.
wrestling.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
You know, it hasn't.
Oh,
tripled
just
up
in
yet.
Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee
Yeah.
wrestling, you know, that's...
I don't know. I've seen some pretty bad matches. It had to be real bad if it destroyed wrestling.
Oh.
And
I watched the match up at the arena one night, killed the entire crowd. They just shit the whole pants from watching the match.
hey, guess what?
So bad.
Our match didn't kill the crowd. The crowd was into
Crowd
it,
was
making
into it.
noise.
They're Tennessee people.
And like
so
Jeff
what
Dye
are they?
Blackhawk said, an LBW guy, he's like, now let me ask you something.
Jeremy said he's probably on the shitter laughing at us.
Back when Rome was running the arena, they were throwing lions and people out there, and everybody was screeching and screaming for that.
That's
one too,
right.
No matter how bad it was.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
if you throw a plunger out there, they lose their damn minds. Like that was exactly.
That's what killed
happened.
us.
I have
Oh, my
proof
God.
if you bring a plunger to the thing. People will go crazy. Cam knows all about that.
Exactly.
Don't you, Cam?
Do you have a plunger match?
Don't you, plunger boy?
No.
Not your boy.
No, the Nibbler.
That's your new name.
Jayne, the Nibbler character, has a plunger.
The
The
Nibbler.
And
It
that
wasn't-
guy,
It wasn't me. It was my brother.
but,
Oh yeah.
hey,
So-
he still got plunged.
In case you've never seen the Nippler, he's this guy in like a gimp mask and like this shitty suit. He's got a glove with a bunch of nipples on the fingers. He brings the plunger to the ring, and he makes his opponents suck on the nipples, and then he takes the plunger and plunges their butts.
Wow.
And
Do you know that guy? Do you know that guy?
word is, word is,
Back on the nippler.
word is that Diego ain't been sitting straight since.
He went back to Mexico.
So is
Drop a hot dog emoji if you want to put thoughts and prayers in there for
can't get
Diego.
away with the hot dog emojis.
The Nippler has got to come out of retirement sometime and appear somewhere.
He almost came to the Western Kentucky State Fair.
But somebody else took his. You took his place. That's what I'm like, yeah. But boy, the Nippler needs to make his.
I can call him. I got his number.
So what you're saying is that he might have been scared of J.R. Rock as soon as you.
He is. I've wrestled the Nippler before. He is definitely scared of me.
Exactly, because think about it. He knew that he was going to be at that show, but as soon as he heard this man was
I
coming in
wrestled
there.
the Nippler. It's time to retire. Sorry, JR. I couldn't resist, buddy. I couldn't. I'm sorry.
After that, there's nothing left except retirement.
It's like, that's it. I've done it all. Go out on the high note.
But that's the thing, because we got this August 1st show coming. You guys got to be out there because it's free.
And you know who you're going to see at the August 1st show in the Battle Royal? You're going to see the one and only Sassy Man Cam in the Battle Royal.
That the man.
That's right. And it's about time.
I may call the Nippler and see if he wants to be in the Battle Royal.
Uh-oh.
Wait. Cam's gone.
Where you going, Cam? Don't be scared.
Cam's like, I'm calling in sick that day.
August the 1st. You still got till August the 1st to run.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I gotta.
Are you
tighten
able,
up still.
JR, are you able at this moment to mention any of the people that have already signed on for that show?
Oh, yes. So we will have Maximo Suave.
Hey.
Good one.
We will have Evil Nate Hewitt.
Hell yeah.
Yes, Chainsaw Boy.
Yes.
Here, I can hold that for you.
We will have Showtime Sean Christopher.
Yes.
Good
We will
one.
have Party Man Cam. I mentioned we'll have the Dahlia. She'll be there with Evil Nate. Rosalina Brake will be managing some people at this show. I dropped
time.
that Victor Bruiser may be coming to watch.
Hell yeah.
I can't remember who else. There's so many people who just keep reaching out to me. Oh, Crazy Ed. You all know Crazy Ed.
I love Crazy Ed.
Crazy Ed will be there.
Another
Cash Jackson will be there.
good one.
If he shows up.
Just so y'all know,
It'll be the main event, so he'll be there by then.
Charles Colton will be there.
hell yeah.
Mr. Colton. All right.
Adrian Alexander will be there.
That's a good name, too.
That's a good guy.
Ethan Heyer will be there.
Nice. Higher than life.
Is Marty?
I'll have to look and see. I don't remember.
I think I
So
heard
many
he was a
people.
maybe.
Now, I think Marty is for sure on September 1st.
Yes.
But I don't know about August 1st. I
And
don't think August 1st.
Stan is for sure on September 1st. On
No,
September
September 7th.
7th.
Title
Nice.
tournament, yes.
Did
There's
y'all
so
know?
many people that keep emailing me wanting to come wrestle. I can't keep track of all of
Hell
them. I
yeah.
had a lady out of West Virginia email me wanting to come wrestle for us.
Yeah.
Just all over the place.
That's
Keep
fire.
up with everybody.
Did y'all know that I was able to get a chance started at one time with a referee to check Cash Jackson's dreads? This happened before I was even part of the podcast. I don't know what made me say it, but I was like, check his dreadlocks, check his dreadlocks.
Oh, yeah.
And Cash
When he
is like,
had the hair.
Cash turns around and is like, what? Check my dreadlocks. Then he tips
That's
his
why
head
he's
down to
bald
the
now.
red.
He's like, hey, you ain't checking my dreads.
Was that when he was still Ace Jackson?
Yep,
Before he
I
changed
think
his
so.
Yeah.
Well, when you have a wrestling promotion, you don't want to have a whole bunch of bookers.
That's true.
And so when JR and I were hooking on up pertaining to Kentucky Wrestling Federation, it was just kind of understood at the very beginning, like, JR is the booker, I'm not. So anytime I talk to anybody, I point them to JR. Anytime anyone's interested, okay, contact JR.
That's right.
He's the one. And if I want to know, like, who's on these, what every book, like, I have to ask him, what do you got cooking? And he tells me, like, he's the booker. Okay, I can't tell him, no, I don't want that guy there. Which we probably have done. But,
I'm sure of it.
But he is the booker, so he is the one that knows who's going to be on the shows.
That's right.
And I have to, as you see, I came in with this. I have to use this as my cheat sheet to tell me the dates and the places and what the shows are. Like the TV, the podcast.
That's smart.
Well, speaking of TV,
I
Dale.
don't remember any of this stuff
Wait,
off
wait.
the top of my head.
Speaking of TV, once we get our shows up and going, I have arranged the TV deal for KWF. Our shows will be aired on Northern Kentucky Public Access Television for the Huntington, Covington, Newport area, southern Cincinnati area. So we
Heck
got
yeah.
TV deal with that worked out.
Awesome.
That's what I'm talking about.
Stay tuned.
But he's, even other than just that area, he's got other areas also still in the works too.
Yeah.
But see, this is stuff he does. I'm staying out of it. I'm just back here like you all, and when he tells me, like, I'm great, I'm glad, it's good for us.
That's the way to do it.
But I'm not telling him yes or no on anything. He does what he needs to do.
That's right.
I forgot earlier, Dale, there was another announcement I was going to make. We have so much going on with KWF right now. I know we had Cody Matthews on here and announced him as one of our commissioners. Well, we have a second commissioner that I'm going to announce tonight.
Okay.
If you know Bob Murdoch.
Hell
Bob
yeah.
Murdoch.
Nice.
He is going to be one of our second commissioners. We just have so much stuff going on.
That's what I'm talking about. Y'all heard it here first.
Yes, he will be handling stuff, him and Cody. And they will also have a third member on that commission committee, which will be Del Bass. So we'll have 3 commissioners for KWF because we have so much stuff going on to handle everything.
That's right. That's the way to do it. You got 1 booker and you got 3 commissioners.
That way, if Cody's not available, we can get Bob. If Bob's not available, Dale can handle it, and they can swap out and vice versa. So we have a lot of people helping out, trying to keep things running.
That's what I'm talking about.
If Bob is there, I'm not.
That's
If
right.
Bob is not there, then I'm the third person I would be.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That's the way to do it. Y'all see
That's
that?
smart.
Y'all heard it here first. Whew. I'm already excited.
I know Bob's been out of the wrestling scene for a while, but if you've been a fan around here, everybody knows who Bob is. And
Yep.
seen him wrestle at MWA and all around the area.
Guys, y'all gotta get ready for September 7th. But before that, you got this hellacious night, August 1st, at that museum for Miss Elizabeth.
We're hoping there's going to be a huge turnout. Everybody come out and support the museum, support KWF, support Miss Elizabeth. Everybody come out and have a good time. Like I said, it's free admission, paid. Your ticket has been bought and paid for by the museum, so you don't have to worry about that. Come out and get some food at the food trucks. Come early, see the exhibit, watch the wrestling show, stay late for the drive-in showing.
Yeah, and that's what's cool too. Is like people love vintage like drive-in shows, and the documentary part's going to be a drive-in show, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Killer. That's going to be.
Yep, they have a big inflatable screen. They're going to blow up in the parking lot. At 9 o'clock, they're going to start showing all that after the wrestling show's over.
And guys,
And you can't
I'll be
say
there.
that the tickets are too high priced.
that's right.
Yeah.
Because the museum has already paid everybody's cover charge.
Yeah.
And guys, can you believe that we've been on here now 2 hours?
Wow.
It's flown by that fast.
I've been on here 2 hours? No,
Then
I'm just
on
kidding.
September 1st, he has something rigged up.
Yes, that's
Ooh,
September 1st is the show we have for the
UPS.
local Teamsters Union
Yep.
here at Masterson Station. It's a private corporate event. Thank you, UPS. Thank you, Andy Watkins. Thank you, NiceGuyAndy Podcast, for hooking us up with that.
That's right. That's what it's all about.
And on the 7th is when we start Thornhill.
Yes, September 7th, Thornhill Gym in Frankfurt, 4 p.m. bell time is the start of the heavyweight title tournament.
That's right.
First Sunday of every month, 4 o'clock, Frankfurt. First
Hell
Sunday
yeah.
of every month. It's Thornhill.
That's what it's all about. Guys,
That's awesome, guys.
who wants to do their goodbyes first?
I'll let the legends
Considering I've been in it for 50 years, you can tell I don't say goodbye. I just say, I'll see you next time.
That's
There
right.
we go. Oh,
I'll see you on down the road at another place.
That's right.
We'll see you back here next month
Yeah.
when we unveil the KWF Tag Team Championship.
Excited.
That's right. I can't wait for that one.
And this is the most unique ladies title belt that probably Kentucky has ever seen.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and like
It
I'm
is.
I'm kind of jealous of it because it's prettier than my belt. Like I'm not gonna lie.
I've seen lady title belts from all over different promotions and everything, and they all kind of follow the same kind of basic design and everything. But Northern Wrestling Federation has got a totally unique look for the ladies belt.
Well, that's good for them, but we're talking about the KWF belt, not the Northern Wrestling Federation belt.
Did
Yeah.
I just do that?
Yep,
you
you
did,
did.
sir.
You called it the Northern Wrestling
In
Federation.
your old age, you Dustin. Hey, he's been here 50 years.
I was
Once-
gonna let it slide, and JR Rock's like, actually.
JR was like, JR was like, you know what?
We just lost a commissioner, everybody.
JR's like,
We have 2 commissioners. No,
here's what it was. JR was like, now hold
I'll be the
on.
backup
Did I
of the
just hear
other-
Northern? JR's just like, Dale, now hold on. It's not the Northern Wrestling Federation. It is Kentucky Wrestling Federation. He wasn't going to let that slide, brother.
This past Saturday, I did USWF over at Stanford at the Lincoln County Fair. And it was probably their biggest show they had of the fair season.
You're right.
2 times on that show, Jimmy, Rated X, had to come up to me and put his arm on my shoulder and, do you realize you just said something totally wrong? Do you know who Country Cousin Jed is?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I called him Hillbilly Jed.
Oh, wow.
And he said, do you realize you did that? Did I do that? Yes, you did. I didn't know that. And then I called somebody else, a different wrestling organization, just like I did with the belt right here.
Yep.
Or you just told me I said Northern. I did. Well, I did the same blooper Saturday on the USWF show. I called it totally something else. And I didn't remember doing it. And next thing I know is Jimmy's got his hand on my shoulder. Dale, do you know you just said that?
Hey, don't feel bad. A couple years ago, about 10 years ago, I was wrestling Sean Christopher at WCCW, and Scott Diamond announced him as Sean Summers.
Yes.
When we get to the ring, and he's like,
Oh, no.
who the hell's Sean Summers? 'Cause that ain't me.
You know Chris Majors?
Yep.
I once on a show called him Chris Masters.
Oh,
Oh, my
no.
And I mean, that stopped it right there. He was like, Dale, what did you just call me? Chris Masters, right? No. And I had to look back, like, Chris Majors.
I can't say shit. Look, when we did the Hopkinsville show the other day, Randall Shane. I
Yep.
started to call Shane Randall. Shane Randall, and I was like,
Oh, no.
It does tend to happen.
hey, man. But to be fair, it was my first rodeo.
That's
Speaking
true.
of Hopkinsville, they had a huge crowd, and I want to say it was because KWF was there. That's why I'm taking credit
Exactly
for that.
right.
Take credit
Exactly.
for
Ring
it.
and
Always
the
take
skirts.
credit for the house.
The ring skirts and the guardrails were
Yep.
fantastic.
Standing room only.
That's right.
Standing room only. A county fair, and I get so mad. I just want to give a shout out, just real quick, to the Logan
Sure,
County
Jen.
Fair Board and the Warren County Fair Board, both of whom have not had wrestling for the past several years. I think the last group that they had come in was OVW.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we just don't want to do wrestling anymore because people aren't into wrestling. And then I sent them the picture of the packed house that we had at Hopkinsville at the Western Kentucky State Fair. And I was like, hey, just to let you know, I mean, all of these people bought tickets. It's probably not a big deal, probably not a big moneymaker, but all of these people like wrestling. All of them. Packed house. Standing room only. Like, we had a young gentleman that was just like, if anybody needs chairs, we can go get extra chairs. And I was
That's
like,
right.
we'll do it. Yeah. So, but it was a good time.
JR was saying how they had chairs out for the first 5 rows.
Yeah.
After those were filled, then
They had to go
people
get more.
were running all over the
That's
place
right.
bringing out more chairs.
And it was
I think
awesome.
They were all there to see Sassy Cam.
They
Oh,
were.
of course. That they
Hey,
can.
he was on fire when he came.
He
out the curtain.
absolutely was, dude. You absolutely killed it.
That's right.
Loved it.
Sean or Jayne, would you like to do your see you
I'll
later?
do it since I showed up late. I almost forgot I got off work and got tired. Had to go
Honesty.
feed my daughter. I'd like to thank everybody in the comments chimed in. Thanks for everybody. J.R. Rock, Mr.
Thanks, Bobby
Mr.
Blade, for commenting. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you for giving us more stories for his probably next 2 or 3 books, Bobby. Thank you, sir. I'm kidding. Jayne, always a pleasure to see you. Cam, you're here. Johnny, always pleasure, boss. Way to hold down the fort. J.R. Rock, Mr. Bass, always a pleasure to see you guys and sit under your learning tree whenever I'm able. I do appreciate you guys. I really do. Everybody out there, stay nice, please. Or don't, but we prefer you stay nice.
We prefer.
Jayne, you're up.
All right. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that has tuned in and that's been following our crazy wild journey here at the NiceGuyAndy podcast. I appreciate everybody so much. But particularly, I want to give a shout out to the veterans of our trade And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful to get to know Dale. So thankful to get to know JR, Cam, everybody that has just been so influential in like the local scene, and for allowing me personally, as somebody that's basically been an outsider that swore off wrestling when Kane impregnated Lita, but of course I there's not a single podcast that goes by where I don't mention that and Snitsky punting the baby, but that's besides the point. I just want to say thanks, and I'm thankful to be a part of this, and so blessed to be able to get my health back under control and to be able to attempt to get in the ring, and I'm forever thankful. And to work behind the scenes, to do the national anthem at the Hopkinsville show, that was on my bucket list, and I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful. And to have my daughter here in the studio tonight, Calamity Junior, as I like to call her for safety social media purposes, Calamity Jojo. And I'm just thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm proud to be a woman in the wrestling arena. I'm proud to be a part of the sport that we love, to see a beautiful belt like that brought forth that people can compete for, and to know that women are going to be at the forefront of the sport. And I made a social media post a while back about women not being pee breaks, and women's wrestling not being a pee break. And that's really important to me. And I support all wrestling. It's not just that I'm like, I'm going to support the women's wrestling and nothing else.
That's right.
I love it all, and I'm thankful this sport that I grew up when I was my daughter's age now, watching and getting to see everybody come through and progress the way that they have, and just to be a part of it. I'm thankful, super thankful, and I love it. And I love you guys, and we appreciate you guys, and I love shit out of y'all. So
I want to thank you, J.R. Rock, Dale Bass, for yet again gracing us with your presence, for allowing us to showcase the Kentucky Wrestling Federation Women's Championship, first time being seen right there on the table, and also the Kentucky Heavyweight Championship right there, the championship to go after. Guys at home, thank you for tuning in. Sean, thank you for showing up, brother. Calamity Jayne, thank you for coming. Cam, thank you for showing up as well, brother, to represent KWF, because you got that shirt on, just like J.R. Rock right here has his KWF shirt, which you can get at the merch table at the next show that's coming up. So, guys, let me just say, if you're not having fun,
You ain't getting none.
damn Skippy.
Nice Guy Andy podcast.
Hey, what your mama said.
If he keeps popping off at the mouth, I'm gonna be his daddy.
Anyways, you guys go on your little rinky-dink bullshit podcast.
What is up, guys? This is OVW's Big Whiskey, Jared Kripke. And if you are top shelf talent, then you'd be watching the